5. That was the countdown.
I probably shouldn't sing that because I'm sure that my version is so good that you'll get copyright struck.
We might, if it's not the Game Crazy name.
That was Take on Me, right?
That kills us.
That's not the game. The font.
Who's going to be around to defend that trademark?
God.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Just out of the woodworks, our old boss will show up. Hey! I signed a 20-year non-compete.
Maybe the owner or whatever. I tried to get our old boss on, and he won't jump on. So
the Game Crazy manager, that's a slacker. I don't believe it.
No, that's all right. That's not the Game Crazy / Hollywood Video way.
That's not.
Who's this jerk? Who's joining us?
Yeah, we got a couple people joining. Thank you.
Hey.
Oh no, I meant Frag.
This is Frag. We'll get into Frag in a minute here.
Oh,
yeah. First time I heard that.
Going back to this.
Nope, don't like the way that sounded. I regret everything I just said.
Sign us up. What's up? What's up, Twitch viewers?
Yo.
Going. Hey.
For 2 people. Your mom and maybe Zach. I don't know.
That's the same person.
It usually is, yeah.
Zach is secretly my mother. It's all coming together here.
Awesome.
You know what? Hey, I ain't gonna question it. Whatever. I got more important things to worry about in this world than that one.
Awesome. You guys ready to rock?
And roll.
Ooh. Well, welcome to Why Is This Game Crazy? And this is The Backlog, a show where we're transferred into the Scranton branch and learn the fine art of office parkour. Joining me, as always, is the assistant to the regional manager, Tyken.
Yes.
And also joining us, I'm very excited to introduce our special guest, Frag.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
He recently received the Dundie Award for the most chiseled fingers.
Singular, just one.
Oh, you even have a Band-Aid.
Yeah, dude.
What happened?
It finally stopped bleeding enough for me to put one on.
What?
So, I have a side business, and we do a lot of little word working and making nerd things like dice towers, things like that. And we've been commissioned to make a double dice tower book. And it's going really cool. So it's in the shape of a book, and you open it up, and you have 2 dice towers side by side. Looks real good. But the paddles in the dice tower weren't lining up right. And I realized they needed a little bit of shaving to fit into the sockets that we have. So I took out our wood chisel. I was getting to work. And ironically enough, not 10 minutes before this happened, I said to my wife, who was helping me out, I'm like, you know what? I think these really need to be sharpened a little bit more. They're starting to dull. So afterwards, I think we should sharpen these up. And I go and I take a little bit off, and it jumps and slices me right across the tendon.
Mm-hmm.
If it was actually as sharp as it should be, it would have sliced the tendon, and I would not be here today. I'd be getting, luckily, it didn't, and it wasn't, and so I just had a huge gash that's like a good half-inch long.
Jesus.
And it hurts like fucking hell. But yeah, it was literally like duct tape and like paper towel and all that stuff. And yeah.
Good Lord.
Oh,
now,
God.
this was a dice tower, right? That you were working on?
Yeah.
Is it like witch theme, necromancy theme? Like, were you just giving it the authentic flair?
Oh, yeah. It was part of a magical ritual where we just needed blood. I was hoping it was somebody else's.
Right.
But as always, it's my own blood, sweat, and tears.
Mm-hmm. I think you should focus more on the other two.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're still here with a finger.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
You're here, and you got the critical miss from the dice tower.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what that is.
And you truly carved your place at the top of the Dundee winner list this year. So, yeah, stay sharp. And
puns. Oh, God.
oh, I'm sorry.
I love them. I love puns. What are you talking about? Man, keep them coming.
Awesome. And I am the Dom, aka the guy who just burned his foot cooking dinner on a George Foreman grill.
Hey,
It happens.
I love bacon in the morning. What can I say?
So yeah, if you haven't caught on, we're diving into a game that has big office energy, a game where one player takes on the role of the office manager, trying to drive his team to supreme office productivity and fighting the perils of workplace shenanigans in Dale and Dawson Stationary Supplies. We're also going to discuss games we were playing, news around the game world, and also a special discussion on trends in the video game industry. The good, the bad, and the ugly. To celebrate today's episode, Kevin's band, Scrantonicity, will be playing us in. So with that, let's get started.
Yes.
Why is this game crazy?
All right.
That's the first time I've actually seen the intro. That was really good.
What do you mean?
This is the second time. Yeah.
You're doing this for years.
We are pros here.
It's still just as good.
Seriously, yeah, thanks for joining us, Frag. Awesome to have you on. We just like to open this up with talking about what we've been playing for the last week and a half. So if you want to start, we'll give you the guest privilege.
Oh, the honor is mine. Oh my god.
Oh.
I'm so flattered. God, that hurt. Aside from Repo, which I played with you guys, and I played I love Repo. I've been watching a lot of videos on it. I freaking love that game. It's so fun. I'm happy with all of the updates that they've done so far. I want to play more. I'll play right now. Fuck this podcast. Let's go.
Hold on.
No. We can do it at the same time. So I've been playing a lot of Repo, but I've also been playing a lot of Planet Crafter, especially with my son. My son's 10, and him and I have just been enjoying the crap out of that. It's been really good kind of watching him, how his mind works, and trying to also not go crazy with why did you put that there? Why did you put the solar panel next to the pressure, the laser drills? Like why there? Or using a jetpack and going halfway across the map and finding random little like vegetube things that are not near anything else. And I'm like, why'd you build that? He's like, well, I got the notification that I could. I'm like, okay. All right, cool. Yeah. All right, get it now. Got it.
This is a dad struggle in life, period. Let alone video games. You're like, why did you make these choices? Okay, I could see why you thought that was a good idea.
But honestly, it's been great. I've been loving that so much. It's been so fun.
God, Planet Crafter is so good. And can you give like a little synopsis for those who haven't played Planet Crafter?
Yeah, Planet Crafter essentially is you're stranded on a barren world, and you have two choices: terraform the planet or die.
Yeah.
Like, that's really it. Like, it's a one-way ticket. I don't entirely know all of the story, but it sounds like you're either paying someone back or you're a criminal. I don't entirely. Or it's like a penal kind of thing where you were jaywalking and they're like, that's enough, get out of here.
I got the sense that it was very much like a capitalistic criminal.
Yeah.
And throw you in there, like, get to work, see what happens. If he dies,
It's been very slow. You find other previously people who attempted to terraform it were not successful. But there's a lot of subtle stories in there that I really like running across, and it's so great to see one area, for example, it was this nothing but like dust clouds coming out of it, you know, like it's a meteorite crater and there's just dust everywhere. And then when you come back later, after you've terraformed enough and now you have rain and water everywhere and the grass is finally growing, and you go back over there and you're like, where's the dust? And you look and now there's like a bunch of trees in the middle and like a little like lake around it. It's like this, it's just amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible to have a game that you are making a large impact on the world, and you know, plenty of games sort of hint at that, and they show you a little, like, you know, I'm thinking of Fable, where if you're good or evil determines how people talk to you. But in Planet Crafter, Planet Crafter, you are fundamentally altering the world. And you're going back to those same areas. It's like every time I play, that map's new, although it's completely familiar. You're like, oh, I remember this area, but now it's something completely different. Now it's a lush garden or a snow-covered mountain. Like it's
I've gone into this very much like I don't want spoilers. I don't know how the game's gonna play. I'm doing something right now where this is the first time where I'm like, I get what I need to do. Can I just find out where all the things are? 'Cause but I don't want to. I want to still do it, but I'm getting a little frustrated. But I still love the game so much. But it's that amazing thing where you go into it and you're like, I have no idea how this is going to turn out. And then as you go, it's subtle at first. The subtle changes, a little grass here, a little grass there. I'm flying around at some point, and I'm like, did I just see a butterfly? What was that? And I go back. I'm like, yeah, there's a butterfly flying around. What the hell?
Yeah, it's incredible. I fixed my mic real quick. Sound better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can still hear
Too
you.
loud, man.
You probably turn it up a little.
Yeah, I think so too.
Ooh.
Let me take the opportunity now. I'm never going to say it again.
Talk.
I'm waiting for him. I said I'm never going to say it again.
Am I good? I could bring it up more.
A little bit more, I think. God dang it.
How about here?
Me.
Here? Zach said, did it change? I'm looking. I should have changed.
It sounds far away.
Does it still?
Yeah. I heard you more clear, honestly, than before, but I don't know what it was coming from.
I'll be right back.
After these messages.
This is what editing's for. Love it.
Back. Yeah, right.
And Zach, that's what she said.
Mission accomplished. All right.
He joined.
Man.
How do I sound now? Better?
Sound great.
Yeah?
I still think you can go up more, but...
Okay. Louder.
We just moved you to the bottom, too, so...
I don't feel comfortable about that.
Now you're on the bottom.
Come back? That way it's an easier edit. That way Josh goes back to the spot he was in.
We don't edit the video. I was on the wrong.
No, yeah. We'll just edit the audio after this.
Oh, okay. All right. I wasn't sure.
Thanks, production manager.
Gotta sound good.
Sound gooder.
So yeah, Planet Crafter. I'm glad you talked. We love the hell out of the game. I played that with my gaming group, and it was a very satisfying run to the very end of that game. So that was great. Good call outs.
Bragg, how old is your kid you're playing with?
He's 10.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
gives me a good idea. That's a fun time.
it is. It's really good to. He's finally at the age now where we can start doing more things in gaming. I know a couple of years ago, I probably introduced him to fighting games maybe a little too early. And we were playing some Street Fighter, and he finally figured out how to do like Hadouken, a fireball. And he started trying to spam it. And I'm like, I understand you can now do that. However, it's not the end. I was like, it's a fireball. Of course it's going to do it. It's the best move ever. I'm like, okay. And then he started to, he got his sister to play, and she just turned 7 again. He's 10, but this is a couple years ago. So she'd probably been like 4 or 5, at the time. and he just no mercy, just trying to take her out. And I was like, all right, there's always a bigger fish. So I was like, all right, let's play again. He never landed a fireball perfect, and he just looked at me like maybe not exactly super happy, but I was like, dude, like you were doing the same thing. Lesson learned. Don't be a jerk.
Yeah, that's where you get good at like Vega and just jump, do the wall jump and like just gonna crush your skull with my claw and yeah, good times.
Yeah, play Tekken, he just plays Eddie, and then there you go.
Yeah.
Wow, that works at all skill levels though. That's not a fair comparison.
That's fair.
Damn
Put him in his place.
Nah, that is such a formative part of playing fighting games. I remember when we were kids, right? Like you figure out that fireball and you're like, this is unbeatable.
Oh yeah.
No one can stop it. And then you meet someone who actually knows how to play and you're like, fireballs suck.
Dude, oh my God.
And then you get good enough and you go, oh, there's a place.
Josh, do you remember years ago we were playing one of the Dragon Ball games, one of the Budokais, I think.
Oh.
And we were trying. You were playing Trunks, and I played everybody. We were trying to figure out what would beat his, like, I think it's his burning attack or what the hell they call it, where he just waves his hands, whatever.
You didn't narrow it down.
Yeah, that's fair. That's very fair.
Was it anyway, Naruto move you said?
Yeah. And he would just, everything I did would just get defeated by it over and over again. Super Kamehamehas, whatever, everything would get destroyed by it. So I was like, all right, let's go Super Saiyan Goku. Let's do a spirit bomb and see what happens. And we threw the 2 energy attacks out and like zoomed our asses out of there so we could see the collision. And it was just like giant spirit bomb versus a tiny little orb. And then no explosion. Just I was like, really? We spent a half hour doing this. That's what we get. It stopped it.
Yeah, this was a Tenkaichi. Yep. And that game was just so unbalanced. And it was fun. But the second you took it seriously, that game immediately was like, nope, you can't play this. You need to button mash. You need to know 3 moves. And that's all you're going to do the rest of the time.
Yeah.
And when you're that, it's wonderful. Atlas is pointing out the gay piccolo dance, which, yes. So all of those games.
Is that like the fusion dance you're referencing, or?
Sort of.
Okay.
So yeah, any other games you've been playing?
Is there anything I've been playing? Is that not enough for you?
I'm just taking Don's spot. Don's the commander here.
No, every now and then I'll jump on Power Wash if Power Wash I just need to unwind. It's a great game where it's like I've had a rough day and I need to not think. I normally play like Supreme Commander, Forge Alliance, but for some reason my computer it crashes after a couple minutes. I think it's a memory issue based on the game and Windows 11.
That game's old too at this point.
I love that game, man. It is usually my go-to where I'm like, I just want to build things and send them and build artillery. Anyway, yeah, that's all I've been really playing.
Nice.
Cool. On to Taiken.
Yeah, I had big news. I said I would do it. It only took me like 3.5 months to do it, but I finally beat Avowed a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that game. I will continue to say, I said at the beginning, this game's aggressively good. Nothing's great. Everything's good. And I got to the end and I was like, that was a good game. There was no change in my opinion.
No surprise.
Yeah, it didn't wow me. It didn't, bum me out. I was like, oh, it ended in a way I expect this game to end. So
remind me, what is Avowed again? That sounds real familiar.
Avowed is it's a RPG, an action RPG done by the guys who made like Fallout New Vegas. And most recently, I always get it's Outer Wilds.
Outer Worlds, not
Outer Worlds. Outer Worlds, yes. I always
Another
get those
one
two.
That's
Outer Wilds and Worlds came out at the same time, and
which was not helpful.
Outer Worlds, same guys who did Outer Worlds.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I think it's very much in that same vein. Like Outer Worlds was the same, where I was like, I enjoyed this game. It didn't wow me, but I also don't regret my time. Avowed was very similar to that. I think it's got a really great action system. Like the combat's very satisfying in that game. The magic's a little underwhelming. but I went in as a pistol and sword and had a great time throughout it. I think the characters are fine written. None of them were super memorable, which is too bad because one of the guys is voiced by the voice actor who did Garrus in Mass Effect. He's like your first companion.
Oh.
And I wanted to like immediately connect with this character, and the whole time I was like, he's fine.
Yeah. I'm just calibrating the spell over here.
Damn it, ship avowed guy.
Taff. No, wrong game. God damn it.
They had some interesting decisions in that sort of BioWare style game where they give you like a moral quandary you got to kind of deal with, and there's not really a right answer. They had a couple of those moments I thought were really, really well done. And the other thing I will say Avowed did great is it really wrapped up the story. Like you get to the end and like they do this like sort of vignette style explaining what happens to the characters and the choices you made. And it was really fun to get callbacks. I was like, oh yeah, I did do that in the first act. And like, oh, that's a logical conclusion. So I think all of that ended up being a pretty tight package. I enjoyed my time with the game. It was probably 30, 35 hours. But again, it didn't wow me. I mean, I kind of shoved my way through the last part of that game. And because I had done so much where I explored everything and did all the side quests, I ended at like 75 health potions and like 60 mana. And it was like the boss can never kill me. There's just no world in which they could do it. So it made that part fun and thematic without being like challenging and deep. So
it's overall, kind of a short game then. You did all like the side quests and everything. It was only like 30, 40 hours.
Yeah, which frankly, at my age, I'm really appreciating.
That
I could beat a game in that.
Yeah.
So I was happy to get done. Avowed's off my plate. Enjoyed it. I think it's a 7.5, maybe 8 out of 10 game, which is still pretty good.
Yeah.
So if you're ever bored and there's not enough games to play, which is never, then I recommend Avowed.
Yeah.
Nice.
Now, more exciting, the one I really got into this week was I finally got Blueprints and spent some time with it, which I know, Dawn, you spent some time with that game too. Blueprints is a roguelite puzzle game. You are entering into a mansion that's been left to you by your grandfather. And the agreement is if you have to not stay in the mansion and you need to find a secret room that's hidden in this mansion. But the trick is every day you go there, the room and layouts change. And the way that plays out is when you enter a room and you hit a door, you get 3 different tiles that you can put in that space. And each one of those tiles might have other clues or hints to the story. Might be a room that just helps you get further into the mansion. Maybe it even blocks you off. You could find a closet that might give you a few items, but now suddenly this maze that you're kind of building out of this mansion gets blocked and you can't go any further. And then you're going to rest and you get another attempt the next day. I was not sure how well this was going to work because puzzle games are really about, studying your environment and reading through your clues. Somehow they made this game work. Like it's so fascinating. One, where you place the tiles matters. Maybe putting a room next to another room unlocks a secret between those 2 rooms, or the type of room. There's red rooms and green rooms, and they have different effects to each other. For instance, I'll keep it as spoiler light as I can, but there's a room you get to that is a red room, a dark room. It's like a photography dark room. And when you go into it, the lights turn off. Well, you can find the power panel as one of the rooms you can open. So if you find it, you could turn the power panel on and then go explore the dark room. And so it's that sort of mix and match that has been really fascinating about Blueprints.
Okay.
The other thing I really like is it sort of avoids my problem with a lot of puzzle games is you get railroaded into having to solve 1 or 2 puzzles. And if you're stuck there, that's it. That's the whole game. You are stuck there till you figure it out. In Blueprints, I can be stuck in an area and just say, you know what? I'm just going to explore it later. I'm going to go look at what else is available to me. And maybe I'll come back with a new way to learn it. Or maybe it's even a puzzle that I needed to go somewhere else to figure out the solution to. So it's very satisfying in that way. I never feel like I'm stuck or like I'm not making progress. I'm always finding some thread, some clue that's leading me deeper and deeper into the mystery. So it's been a pleasure, and I'm excited to play more. Don, you've been playing it too, right?
Yeah, I would love to get more time into that. What I'll say too is like when you look at the dark room and you go somewhere, every time you step between rooms, it reduces your room count. So, or your walking count, I guess. So every time it's like a -1 to your movement. And if you go up to the power room and it's clear across the building and you come back, it reduces your walk count. So you have less moves you can do. So it's very tricky, and you have to be very smart about the order you place everything.
So you get like, I think starting you get 50 steps, and the mechanic is that every time you enter a room, you lose a step. And it could be a new room. It could be a room you've already seen. So to Don's point, there are times that you need to like backtrack to previous rooms to unlock things in newer rooms. And because you're the one building out the map, you have to make decisions of like, for instance, that room that lets you turn on the light for the dark room, that is also a closet. It just ends that pathway. So it's such an interesting strategic choice as you go. And it does such a good job. I will say the other thing I love, and I don't know if this is going to show on camera. Oh, it's not gonna. I'm writing notes on a pad of paper again.
Wow, really?
Yeah. I'm like drawing diagrams and like writing down moments. I'm taking pictures of screenshots because the game is really, it's so refreshing to have a game that isn't just giving me it in a menu that I just look up. It's not hit tab and then go to journal and then see all the hints about it, or giving me markers. It's making me think about it and make logical conclusions of the world.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
What's this called again? Blueprints?
Blueprints. Yep.
Okay.
Like blueprints.
Yeah.
Very clever.
And they tell you one of the first rooms you go into, they highly recommend taking notes. So it's like they want you to do this, but it just makes sense, and you're going to find yourself doing it.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So it's a very wonderful game. I've been really enjoying it. I'm excited to spend some more. I've got a vacation coming up over the next couple of days. I'm just going to be on that plane playing some Blueprints.
What's a vacation?
I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know. I heard about them. They sounded cool. I'm going to give it a shot.
Yeah. Give it a try.
Yeah. So that's really all I've had time for, honestly. The other one, just because Frag brought it up about cozy games. I have 2 cozy games that are like I don't want to think I'm just going to put into. The first one is Smash Brothers Ultimate. I love just picking that up, beating up the computer. I don't know why. It's just my like casual game to play. The other is Mario Maker 2. I'll just put on some random levels, run through it. It's just something about it. It's enough of a distraction. It takes my mind off of whatever's happening, but it's not so much that I'm stressed or anxiety or like, I really got to think this through. You're just coasting. You're just coasting on the thing. So Don, what have you been up to?
Yes.
You've been working a ton.
I've been working a lot. So yeah, I worked, I don't know, feels like 2 weeks of 10-hour days plus. So not a lot of game time. I did try Revenge of the Savage Planet last week when it came out.
Ooh, I want to hear.
How was it? I wanted to play the first one, never got to, but it looked really good.
First one's cool. There's a lot of comedy in it too. So the premise of the game is, in the first one, you're working for a company. They send you to this planet to basically build a sustainable area to move settlers into or whatever. So going into the second one, and it goes from first person in the first game to a third person game in the second game. But going into this game, and it's kind of a weird shift, but I like it. Going into the second game, the first company sells to a new company, and they buy out the program, send you to this new planet. You get there, it takes hundreds of light years to get there, and by the time you get there, you find out that you were fired, basically. so there's a lot of that kind of comedy, and you get there and you're like, okay, we're not really sending settlers because we're quitting this program, and you got to just kind of live on this planet. So it's very much a survival, third-person survival game. Your crafting, your scanners and your jetpacks and everything. It's very fun. You're blowing up these monsters. Like, I walked out of the spaceship and walked over to a plant, and it tried to eat me right away. So it's and then I was like, okay, can I heal? Can I heal over time? Can I walk away from this and be okay? And no, you can't. So you have to go find a plant that you can, you find a plant and you put a straw into it and suck the juices out, and it heals you. So it's pretty cool. So that type of stuff that they moved into the third person, it has a little more of that animation where you're interacting with these items like plants and everything, and it looks cool. So great game, funny. I've only played hour and a half, 2 hours of it, so I'm just really scratching the surface on it, but I'm very excited to play it. It is co-op. It's couch co-op, so you can play with a friend at your house or whatever. Very cool to have that kind of game. Yeah, not a lot of that. So very cool. I'm excited to play it with somebody. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks I can get one of you guys into that.
I'm down when I'm back.
Good times. But yeah, they have live action videos that you can watch of like how the company works, training videos.
Oh, nice.
It's
videos.
yeah, it's funny.
Wow.
So
okay.
Yeah.
Is it like, did you ever watch Better Off Ted?
I did not.
Oh, you guys need to go watch Better Off Ted.
The name sounds familiar.
Can't cancel the podcast. Shut it all down. We're going to Better Off Ted.
We're going.
It has this great thing. It's also very similar in the sense of like an evil corporation that other people are just like existing in. But they do this great thing where they have all these like little clips of the company, like, we care about you. And there'll be like some horrific thing where someone's dying in the background or something. Here. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly how this game is. It's something like wonderful. The intro is like, we're a family and blah, blah, blah. And it's exactly like that. So ridiculous.
Why is everyone picking on these big corporations? Like, that just really, like, that's just uncalled for.
Yeah.
Beating up the little big guy.
Yeah.
Jesus.
What did they ever do? Ignore all that.
So that's pretty much it for what I've been playing. I will just, since you guys all shared a cozy game, I've said it before, but one of my favorites is Balatro. Like, can't get enough of that.
God,
so
yes.
It's that's my drug.
My problem I have with Balatro is that it sucks my time. Like, it is incredible how I'm sitting down having a cozy game and I look up and I'm like, it's been an hour. When did it become an hour?
Yeah. Or it's like, 9:30, you got to wake up at like 5:30 in the morning or something. And you're
that
like,
has never happened to me.
Just going to play around right before I go to bed. And then it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. And it's like, shit.
Yeah.
So,
so much fun. Incredible. Yeah. I was surprised at how well it feels like such a simple premise. Like, you're not even fighting anything, right? You're just constantly going up against this high score. And yet somehow that game hooks you in such a dirty way.
It's on my list of games I really want to try out.
Oh my God.
On PlayStation Plus, they've got Balatro. I've been
That's true.
Bolt Gun is the other ones I've been playing since that's on there now.
Which one?
Bolt Gun. It's a Warhammer.
Oh yeah, Warhammer.
Yeah. So I've been playing a lot of that too. And so, but Balatro is the other one there. But I'm like, I'm gonna play me some Bolt Gun first.
It's free. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like PlayStation Plus and Game Pass should pay us for these things, but Balatro is free this month. So if you're watching
the planet's also on Xbox Game Pass. So,
yep. If you're watching this, pick that game up if you got PlayStation Plus. Like, seriously. Oh, so good. Awesome. So what I did do during the last week was I've been watching some game news.
Bum, bum, bum. We need like a musical intro to get us to game.
We do need an intro. I'll work on that.
That's the next level. World news and hating myself.
Don't do that. Just watch game news. Yeah. So with game news, do you guys want the good news or the bad news first?
start with something good. Let's go shiny.
Are you sure?
Oh, is there not enough? Okay, let's go to the bad news.
Let's start with the bad. So, Grand Theft Auto pushed back to next May.
Hey, are we surprised by that?
Yeah. Is there someone in the world that expected in November? Because I got bad news. The last one got pushed back to May.
Yeah, I think if you look at the game release schedule for the rest of the year, every freaking developer thought they were coming out in November. Like,
out of their goddamn mind if they thought that was real. Well, there's no way.
I wouldn't risk it up against GTA 6.
Oh, no. I agree. I don't risk
but I would love for developers to be like, hey, we were going to release it in spring. Joking, going back to November.
Lol.
I thought they were going to be like,
Brett, take that out. I didn't say that. Dude, move it on.
Accidentally, we meant May 2025. We're out. That'd be crazy. Yeah.
I know they dropped a trailer. I haven't watched the newest trailer.
Oh God, but dude.
That is the next part.
Like, looks good.
All right. I will say no one should be surprised. I think GTA is so big that they can do what the hell they want. If they're going to say it's going to take another 6 months to a year, we're going to sit back and wait 6 months to a year.
What are they not going to get? Record profits? Come on, man.
Yeah. GTA 5 is the best selling media of all time. Like they have plenty of money. And if they take that time to make a better game, good. We're going to talk about trends a little bit, and I'm not going to bring it up, but I will say one of the trends on top of my mind was games coming out in half-finished states. And how tired of it I am. The only reason I didn't put it on here is because I've been tired of it for about a decade now. So GTA 6, spending some time to cook.
Good.
Plenty of games to play. Go play a Valve if you're bored.
So, yeah, good news. Obviously, they released the trailer.
Oh my God.
Some people are calling this the best trailer in video game history. I can't argue that. Like, I can't argue against that. GTA 3 to me was like one of the best trailers.
Good, man. Like, you're comparing that.
It's
the
really freaking good.
Dead Island trailer and the GTA 6 trailers. The GTA 6 was in game
on a standard PS5.
Dead Island 2 never. No, he didn't come out.
Yeah, it looks
Dead
amazing.
Island?
Yeah, Dead Island 2.
Yes, Dead Island 2 came out. GTA 6 looks incredible, which I mean we knew it would, but it really showcases what the Unreal Engine 5 can do. It's interesting. It's been so long, I think, since I've had a game that felt like a generational leap in technology. Like once we sort of hit the PS3 to PS4 era, everything has felt incremental. Watching that one, I was like, the absolute audacity of Rockstar to make something this goddamn good looking every time. Like this, it is going to be a big deal. Like there's no world, I think, where GTA 6 comes out and everyone's like, like we are on the cusp of something huge again.
I will say one of the things I'm excited about as well is like Vice City was my favorite GTA. I love Vice City. And so I'm excited to see what happens now that they're going back to Vice City. I think the funny part for me, though, is when I first played it, I didn't realize, because I'm an idiot, like I didn't think about like, okay, yeah, it's based off like Miami and all that stuff. Florida means a whole different thing to me today than it did when I was playing Vice City originally. So I'm very interested also to see it from a new perspective, looking at Florida. in the Grand Theft Auto universe, where everything is the satirical nature of everything is ramped up.
We finally got a hint at the story, right? It's going to be sort of that Bonnie and Clyde, where both of these criminals are sort of egging each other on, but it also delves into the fun aspect of GTA. Like you could tell these are two characters that are going to have drama, but the drama is not a love story between them, or at least it doesn't feel that way. It really feels like these are just two awful fun characters. We get to play fun villains and they're egging each other on in exciting ways. And I'm just really excited to inhabit both those characters and how it's going to lead. I don't know.
They might have some coffee too. Who knows?
Some hot coffee.
Some hot coffee. Yeah.
Wow, that's a reference.
That's all we got.
That's all we got.
Awesome.
Since we are from the Game Crazy crew, someone was bringing up that they had a copy of Oblivion that had a T rating, which we had to go back through and put stickers to make it an M rating because it was misrated by the ESRB. So it's actually very rare to have a teen rating Oblivion copy anymore. But the big one for me was Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. When the hot coffee mod got found, we had to label all of the Grand Theft Auto copies with stickers, making them adult only for a mod that was in the game, but you couldn't access unless you modded the game. So it's the most ridiculous. Like,
yeah,
the code exists for sex. And I was like, well, the Playboy Mansion game is an M-rated game.
And Mafia.
And Mafia, yeah.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Oh, yeah. Good times.
Frag, watch a GTA 6 trailer. You'll drop your jaw. How incredible it looks. Just the reflections off the skin. And even the big deal for me is we've had characters, like main characters, look good. Assassin's Creed is incredible for their like visual textures and whatnot. The characters on the side street that you're passing look incredible.
Wow. Okay.
Like the extras are looking amazing.
Is this going to be on the PS6? Is that what I heard coming out?
PS5.
PS5.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I heard something recently, and I didn't look into it because I had other things on my mind. But they were like, there might have been an announcement of a PS6 early, or like way early in the release cycle of the game system. So I was like, that's a bad idea. But hey, whatever.
Well, I mean, how long has the PS5 been out now?
Not that long.
4 years?
No, PS5.
Yeah,
they just got the Pro last year.
Jesus Christ, I gotta look up this up.
I can't.
But COVID time has made time an illusion for me, so it could be 20 years for all I know. Okay.
Yeah, I know, I get it.
So yeah, that is the main thing with that. They did record everything on a PS5, like
2020,
standard.
baby, 5 years ago. I was right.
Wow.
PS5 came out in 2020. So look, 5 to 6 year cycle is not crazy. Sorry, I cut you off, Don.
Yeah,
man.
We're old.
But they just got the Pro. I feel like there's a few more years left in this generation, so we'll see.
But they have said GTA 6, PS5, obviously going to be on the Xbox One Series X. Probably not on the Switch 2.
Probably not.
That's barely going to run Cyberpunk. So,
oh god, with problems, I'm sure.
Yeah, they'll do the original build,
flying cars and shit.
I would not be surprised at this point if by the time GTA 6 comes around, it's on the PS5. However, it's encouraged to get it on the PS6 with a special edition release.
Yeah,
that whole debacle.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, but. I mentioned this earlier, that generations have to slow down. There just really isn't the graphical leaps we've been seeing.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot more that you could squeeze out of these current gen chips and hardware. So I think it's a harder and harder sell to be like, oh, check out the PS6. You're like, wow, it looks a little bit nicer than the PS5.
Yeah.
And like 8K TVs and monitors have come out and made no splash. Like no one's interested. 4K feels like once you go 4K to 8K, it's not the jump that 1080 to 4K or even 720.
Right, 100%. Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if this cycle sticks around for sure.
Awesome. Do we have any Destiny 2 fans?
I love Destiny 2. I played the shit out of Destiny 2.
I wanted to, never played it. Yeah, you did?
I did, okay. Yeah. And no, we played up until was it the Mind, which was a couple of years ago. It was like the Off Mind or the Mega Mind, something like that. Played quite a bit of Destiny 2.
Yep.
Well, they did release a huge lineup of DLC for this year. There's a Metroidvania inspired planet, and there's also a Star Wars inspired DLC with lightsabers.
I have thoughts, but first, the Metroidvania planet. Are we talking the genre Metroidvania? Or are we talking a Metroid looking planet.
No, no, I think it's based on the genre. I feel like there's some unlockables, like you have to go somewhere, unlock it, come back. That kind of setup is what I believe they're going for.
I like the idea of single player content getting further into Destiny. I don't know if it's the right decision for them as a company, because really Destiny is all about the grind, right? It's a live service game. You're intended to sort of land on a planet, do your dailies, get off the planet. So I like the idea personally, because I'd love a reason to come back to Destiny.
Yes.
Like the grind is good, but I'm not a grinder, So that one. Let's talk about the Star Wars one. What are your guys' take? What's yours, Don?
I feel like this is coming from a place where they were inspired by Star Wars to make this led to Destiny, what we know as Destiny. So this is a appreciation for what led them to where they're at now. That's how I feel. I don't feel like I believe there are some like cash grabby outfits or whatever you can get, but I feel like the vibe of this DLC, from what I've read, is more of a thanks, and we appreciate Star Wars. This is inspired by Star Wars. We're going to introduce some Star Wars like weaponry, and the vibe is going to be a little like that, but it's not going to be a Star Wars game. And I kind of like that.
Mm-hmm. I have a real hard time with the backtracking they did, because they got a lot of negative publicity over that, actually, with Destiny 2 and making it Star Warsy. That lightsaber turning on is a lightsaber sound. That is 100%. Star Wars, sort
it's a lightsaber.
Yeah, and it looks like a lightsaber. And then they sort of backtrack, like, no, this is inspired by, this is totally a Destiny story. I felt the same way about Magic the Gathering over the last couple of years, where they're doing this big collaborative events, like Final Fantasy is coming out. They had Lord of the Rings,
Fallout or something.
Yeah, Fallout.
Warhammer one. They had Transformers,
and it feels like, and maybe I'm wrong, and I'll love it. Yeah, it feels gimmicky, but it feels like they're chasing the tail of what's the big shooter from Epic? Fortnite feels like they're chasing Fortnite.
Yes, that's a great call.
Crossover. And it sort of feels like diluting the story or the lore of the world. And it's weird, because like the Final Fantasy is coming out for Magic the Gathering. There's a part of me, it's like, God, I'd love a fucking Cloud and Sephiroth cards. Those sound amazing.
Yeah.
But it also feels like you're gamifying too much of a world, where I'm no longer invested in the lore of your world. Your world is now just a game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Magic the Gathering, they've been suffering for a while, because, Hasbro has been really doing a big number on them. And Hasbro owns Magic the Gathering, right? I didn't just make that up, right? Okay.
No, Hasbro bought Games Workshop.
Wizards
of the Coast. Thank you. Wizards of the Coast. Yes.
Yeah, because they've just done a number on Magic, because over the last 5+ years, it's been nonstop release after release after release. And standard edition for Magic has always been like the current set, the last set, and whatever. And when they constantly are releasing sets, the market doesn't have a chance to stabilize at all. Nobody can make decks for a standard without having to double and triple check to make sure they're not going outside that. And then when you have these sets where it's like, you can't use this in standard, then what's the point? Like, you can't use it in Commander. You can't, and these are different, just different play styles of it. Commander is definitely one of the most popular. Used to be not EDH. So I think it was EDH.
Yeah, EDH.
But, yeah. And so it really just, you're right. It dilutes. It gets, a lot of them are very, very gimmicky. And it's just, when you have so much coming out, who can pay attention to what at any given moment,
Like, so I would imagine suffering. I imagine this in the scenario of like, what if Lord of the Rings, like partway through, had a Star Wars crossover, and you're like, okay, like, yes, that's cool, but also like now I don't know what the story's about. Like it gives that sort of discontinuity to the events. And I feel like Destiny's straying too close to that with their Star Wars. And it again, it's weird. Like to your point, Don, it's like Destiny was sort of inspired by the space Western genre, which was really what Star Wars sort of made mainstream. So it feels weird to like bash them on going back to their roots. But I will say my initial reaction, I was like, I think I'm supposed to think this is cool, but I'm very not liking this. And I had to really process what it was about this I didn't love. But maybe it comes out and it's amazing. And all my criticisms are from a 1.5-minute trailer, you know?
Yeah, and maybe I just want to see a Bungie Star Wars game. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I love that idea. Well, frankly, anyone else with the Star Wars license would be wonderful right now.
Yeah.
Right. You mentioned it earlier.
Oh, such a great idea.
I had a moment. I was like, God, do you remember BioWare when you said it earlier? I'm like, I know technically they're still around, but like, God, do you remember BioWare? Not.
It was amazing playing Avowed and then going back to trying Dragon Age Veilguard again. And I was like, wow, this game's bad.
I'm not even going to bother, man. I love Dragon Age 1 is one of the first games I ever 100%ed. Dragon Age 2, it got a lot of shit and I hated it to a certain extent at first. I went back and played it years ago. It's honestly, I love it better than the first one to a certain extent.
Wow.
Like I loved all the characters. Once I really sat down and kind of like let some of the hate of the like
the shortcuts
unfinished and weird in certain spots, like it's the same map over and over again. Once I let all that go and just paid attention to the story and the characters, I loved it. Played Inquisition, hated it.
I liked Inquisition, but I didn't hold it up to the standard of Dragon Age 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And I think that was the only reason I liked it, but yeah.
I never finished it. I wanted to, but I couldn't do it.
I 100%ed Inquisition.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. And that took some time.
Yeah. I bet, man.
But yeah, Veilguard was such a letdown. So it's sad to see games or companies like BioWare, like they had their heyday and very clearly are done. You know, they're a shell of what they were, and it's a bummer.
Yeah, when a company with some heart gets bought out by a bigger corporation, Hasbro, it loses. They lose, something in the meantime, you know.
Well, there's a voice to storytelling, and that's what that's what I'm concerned about with Destiny, is them losing their voice because they're just going for a cash grab like Star Wars. Yeah. And this is something I've always liked about Nintendo, good or ill. Nintendo has a voice. They have something they want to do with a litigious
voice.
And maybe, we might talk about that. They have a vision for what they want their game to be, and they don't let focus testing groups be how they're going to do something. We may hate their vision.
Sure.
But they do it. Yeah, they don't care, right? Blizzard used to be this way. And you could see that Diablo 4 is just a watered down Diablo 3. Like, and you could tell it's because of that listening to players more than listening to your vision. And I'm just worried Destiny's going that direction.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah. I kind of want to try it.
I mean, I'll probably load it up. Don't get me. Again, I'm probably going to buy a Cloud Strife card from Magic the Gathering, but I'm not going to like it.
You're going to love it. Okay. Moving on from that, Ori and the Blind Forest studio head says he could be forced to shut down due to the impact of negative Steam reviews for No Rest for the Wicked.
Gotta have some opinion. All right. I'm going to start. I'm just going to say this. I'm just going to say this. You should not blame your job as creating anything, a business, anything like that. If you're like, hey, people don't like my product, I don't care what your next part of your sentence is, right? They don't like your product because of review bombs or because of Keurig was like hated by conservatives for a little while for some reason, or like because of DEI initiatives or some other bullshit. Once you say they hate my product because I know that you do not understand your market. Like, there are so many times that people come out and they're like, oh, this game's going to fail or this product's going to fail because of these external forces. And then someone comes out with a great product, people are going to go to it. Look, the Twitter audience is not your entire review base. They're not your entire market. In fact, Twitter is this big compared to the rest of the world. All right. So every time people say this bullshit, and we'll get into what actually happened here, I just want to lay the groundwork. If you're failing as a business because people don't like your product, that is your fault. Bar none. I don't care what external forces are happening. If you want a successful product, you need to be looking at how you make that product successful. Done. So I don't know. Before we get too far, Don, you want to lay down like the controversy, or
no, you're doing great. Yeah, okay. I love it.
I'll give some background to the story. Okay. So No Rest for the Wicked is done by Moon Studios. These are the guys that did Ori and the Blind Forest, a really critically acclaimed game. They did both of those. They came out with an early access game called No Rest for the Wicked. It has not been doing well. They made a bunch of patch changes that have not been well received by the community. On top of that, there's been some cultural shifts for them. They were pretty out loud that they were anti-DEI culture, and they made a big point of saying that they're no longer having DEI. And there were people on Twitter that started calling out this behavior. There's been some back and forth with the CEO of Moon Studios, who's sort of been like, oh, apparently if you don't have 5 trans people and a disabled person, you can't make a successful game. There are other people saying, hey, we have valid criticisms about what you've been doing. Like, it seems like you have a right direction, but you've made some poor choices. And that's sort of been the back and forth. It sort of coalesced into Discord group that Moon Studios is a part of. And they said that if they continue to get these sort of negative reviews, they may have to close as a studio because they can't sell any copies. And if you love the game, you should go out and give it a good review to protect against this. So that's sort of the framing. I think it's shit framing, as I was alluding to, and what Frag's sighing about.
If he dies, he dies. It's kind of my thoughts right now. I'm like, I don't give a fuck that. I'm sorry for my language, but I'm like, if that's your opinion, and you're worried because fine, go under. It sucks. Hopefully your employees find new jobs. But if that's your opinion, bye.
Now, Don, you played it. I haven't personally.
Yeah.
And you mentioned it feels like there are underbaked elements to this game.
Based on, playing games like, Ori and everything. Like, I knew this studio was coming out with it. It's an ARPG Souls-like game. It looks awesome. But then I bought it right when they went into early access, and it seemed very underdeveloped. So that was some of my concerns. Like, the gear, you can pick up loot and stuff, and the gear felt very the same. Like, everything you were picking up didn't seem like it progressed or anything, or not very. There wasn't a huge progression. Everything was very generic. So for me, like, it seemed very underdeveloped to even be early access.
Even for early access?
Yeah, and I feel like the game, like, these makers, they make good games. The studio makes good games. And I feel like when they went early access, they just wanted everybody to jump on board and fall in love with it. And I believe that the reviews were calling them out on it. Like, this isn't as cooked as you guys think it is. You need to fix these things. I don't know. I haven't revisited it just because the first experience was not that entertaining for me.
To educate me on this, and maybe some others who may not know much about it, so it's in early access. By its very nature, it's obviously not done. It's not
right. But
it sounds like what you're saying is, even for an early access game, it was already not, like you said, your door was not crisp. Were they saying that yes, while it's early access, it's nearing like what they would consider like a finalization of final stages? Or I
don't think so. One of we'll get into the trends later, but I do like early access games. So I like them a lot. I got this and it just didn't feel where it should have been for early access.
Okay.
That's
I think
kind of my thought on it.
Times with early access games, like you could see the vision they're going for. Like what you're really running into a lot of times in early access, there might be some little bit of polish that needs like quality of life, but generally I'm expecting to have a really good hook, a really good central premise of the game, and then run out of content. Like that's acceptable to me as an early access backer. What I don't love is like getting into a game and like the balance is off, or like there's core aspects of the gameplay that you giving me more content does not make me want to play more of your game. That's where early access fails. And it sounds like this, No Rest for the Wicked is falling in that camp. So I do think that's a problem. I just want to say we got this with the guy that did Days Gone, where he talked about how like it was the player's fault for not appreciating his game enough.
Oh yeah.
And it's this sort of behavior that I think is very unprofessional of a company or a CEO of a company. I get that making games is a much smaller industry and you're a lot closer to the fans and the owners. And so you don't have that sort of filter that exists between that at a corporate level. But that just means you need to police yourself even more. Like his coming out as anti-DEI. Why? What? Even if you are, why? You don't need to make a public memo or a Twitter post about it. You don't need to do anything. You're in the gaming industry. It's already inherently fairly DEI insensitive.
Yeah.
You don't need to make a big deal about it. Just shut your mouth and make your game. Like,
yeah, and
you're tying your personality to shit. Not everyone gets away with it like Elon Musk, and even he's paying for it. Like, come on.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm going to try not to get political about this, but for me, when I hear things like that, I'm very much in the that I don't need your services. I'm going to try and I put I do my best to put my money where my mouth is. And for me, even if it's the best game that's ever lived, to me, I'm going to do my best not to play it, because I don't support that kind of behavior and those sort of anti-policies for the sake of whatever BS that comes with that. That's for me, just hearing about this again, I couldn't care anymore about what the game's like. I'm not going to touch it, but I know Ori and the Blind Forest was a great game.
Incredible game. One of the best Metroidvanias.
It looked like it had an amazing story. I never got to play it, but I watched
surprising amount of heart for a guy that wants to burn his company to the ground over a culture war. Like, bro,
that's really sad. It really is very, very sad. And it sucks for, I'm sure, the employees and like writers and everything like that who have put their heart and soul into this, who maybe don't even support that view, who are now stuck in this rock and a hard place where, again, the thing that they're working on, they're putting their heart and their soul into, is being trampled on by politics of somebody else who they, is controlling where this goes.
It doesn't take a lot, I think, to get a core audience around. Like if No Man's Sky could come out of that tailspin into one of the beloved games, Cyberpunk can get flipped around. It's like the scenario of crisis control needs to happen. Like if you, as No Rest for the Wicked, said, hey, I know the game's not where people want, we're really listening to user feedback, and you spend some time listening to what your players want, and maybe you help implement a more exciting game, I think you turn people around and like, wow, the developer's really listening to me, and he's super personal,
right?
It's
make it good.
A hard leap,
especially with games, like with movies and all that kind of stuff. It's hard to change, and when you come out with the movie and you're like, oh, the fans didn't like it. Well, yeah, we can't really change that. It's already there. But with a game like this, you didn't have to lash out at people. Like, just make your game good.
Yeah. It's early access. Like people, to Frag's point, people have taken the inherent risk. Sell them on it. Sell them that it's a risk they're on, but you're trying to make it better. And people fucking love that.
I think somebody also never told this person, don't read the comments. Just don't do it. Like, but one last thing you said, man, No Man's Sky, holy, like, that's a podcast in and of itself. And I know other people will talk about like the history, but like Hello Games, right? That's the one who made No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Just that's a whole thing in of itself. I'd love to talk about some point. Amazing.
We might have to do that.
They did the right thing, right?
Absolutely.
They came in and were like, hey, this is not the game that we wanted. It clearly everyone's disappointed. We're going to work our asses off. And they didn't go at some point and be like, everyone just hates us because of our politics, or everyone just hates us because of other factors. They said, no, we made a subpar game and we're going to make it better. And they did. And now
they delivered.
No Man's Sky is incredible and people love what that company did. I'm excited for Light No Fire, or Fire No More, or whatever the name of that next game from them is.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have been if they would have came out and been like, oh, it's the woke Twitter culture. It's like, bro.
That game No Man's Sky could have sunk that company.
Yeah.
100%. They've turned it around. They didn't care what people were saying. They didn't get into lashing out at fans. They just made the game good.
It's something like I tell my kids, like trust is incredibly important. It's hard to earn. It's so easy to lose. And it will take forever and a decade to get it back if you don't change your ways or, start keeping promises. And I mean, honestly, like you're excited for their next game. You wouldn't have been.
No.
Man.
Yeah. It's a bummer. It's a bummer coming from a studio that made such beautiful games that look, if they go under because of this attitude, I'm not going to shed a tear.
No. And that's the sad part.
Yeah. Also looking into it, I won't dive too deep, but like their culture has apparently been always problematic, which has been sad to hear. There's a very dude bro culture over there and some pretty shitty attitudes. And it's like, how do you make a beautiful game and still have like Nazi jokes as what your CEO's making people? It's like, bro, that's all I thought the whole time I read up. I was like, bro.
This part can be removed later. I wanted to say when there was like a couple of seconds of like lull, no one's talking. I had some salesperson come to my door today right before I sliced my finger, but I've got like sand, because I was sanding woods. I got everything sawdust everywhere on me, and I have a pride flag outside. Okay. And this guy comes up to me and he opens the door. I'm like, can I help you? And he's like, yeah. I mean, hey, are you the king of the castle? And I just raised my eyebrow at him, like, and my wife later, she almost said, no, I am, bitch. But she held it in. But like,
that was my exact thought.
Yeah. And I just raised my hand. I'm like, what do you want? Like, I'm not even now entertaining this conversation.
If you think you're buttering me up with that, you don't know me at all.
Yeah. Like, fuck it.
Are you the man of the house? Like, chill, bro.
Yeah. Depends on who you're asking. But yeah, anyway,
yes.
I just it's that whole thing, and made me just think about that, and I wanted to just share that story. But again, it's not part relevant to anything.
All good. All right. So I feel like we're living 2006, 2007 all over again. Except this time
we're not 2000 and late.
Gears of War is coming to PlayStation.
Sorry, I am so sorry.
No, we need to delete that comment.
Delete that. Remove it.
What did you say?
Don't delete it, Don. Keep it in. Put it at the beginning and end of the podcast.
No, don't do that.
Yeah, I'm going to say this again. Gears of War is coming to PlayStation.
All around me are familiar.
What a crazy
man! Also, one of the best video game trailers. I'm just gonna say.
Yeah. I love.
Was that the second Gears of War where they did that?
First one. That was the first.
Was it?
One.
Oh.
Yeah. That was the first trailer ever released in the game. I loved Gears of War. I played so much of Gears of War. I love me some Gears of War 1 through 3. Everything else like that, don't worry about it. But
I can't remember the other ones.
I think they have like 4 and Judgment, which I never played.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, you were saying.
It's coming to PlayStation, right? Like, this is one of Xbox's big tentpole franchises, or it was at one point, right?
Right.
Like, tentpole. Yeah. Holds up the tent. It's the pole.
It holds it up. Halo.
It went
Master
Halo,
Chief.
then they lost Bungie and they grabbed Gears of War.
Yeah.
And like, that was a big deal. But now, Xbox has been saying for a while that they see themselves more about taking the opportunity to spread their games around. They're less about their hardware, much more really about Game Pass, but much more about spreading out gameplay. And they're not the only ones. Sony has been being more and more supportive of PC. We're seeing a lot Spider-Man 1 and 2, Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima. I think, again, to my previous comment, where hardware and the sort of improvements to hardware is just not there, that justifies people constantly buying consoles. I think these companies are seeing themselves as publishers and finding ways to expand their reach. So I think it's huge. It's also a remaster on top of that. So it's not just Gears of War. We're getting a brand new remastered Gears of War.
Everybody's getting this to Xbox, PC, and PlayStation, but the big news is it is going to be on PlayStation. Very exciting. This is the only reason I've ever owned an Xbox was this franchise.
Oh, really?
And I was at Game Crazy, and it was like some downtime. There were no customers in the store, and the other guy working with me, Chad, if you remember him.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember Chad.
Chad puts it, he's like, have you played this game? I'm like, no, I don't play Xbox. I've only played PlayStation. And he puts it in the console for me.
They don't play games.
Yeah. I don't play that Xbox crap.
Yeah.
So he puts it in the console, and I immediately, like, I didn't have any money for this, but I immediately bought an Xbox 360. And I'm like, I need this game. It's so good.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm excited because I have been literally waiting for my kid to get a couple years older, and I have been literally going, okay, I have my Xbox 360. I know exactly where it is, and in a couple of years, I'm gonna hook that sucker up, and we're gonna play some Gears, and I know he's gonna absolutely love it, and now that it's going to be coming to PlayStation at some point soon, have they put out a release date on that yet?
I think it's August.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm 100% going to be buying that.
I don't think people really appreciate how important Gears of War was for the gaming industry, because it took third-person shooters, which at the time were much more boomer shooter, like run around, fire. It put tactics into it. Like the cover mechanic was revolutionary.
Flanking.
War did it.
Yeah.
And so it really made combat much more interesting and visceral. It also had a negative impact. It was so popular. It made every shooter gray and brown and black. And like, it made this like dark theme become every shooter. So it also had that impact, but it really was a big deal when Gears of War 1 came out. And I think it's going to be one of those games that people on PlayStation are going to be like, wow, this game's really good, despite the fact being probably 15 plus years
20?
old at this point.
Almost 20.
I didn't want to hear that. 50 plus was enough, Don.
I don't.
It's like 18. Yeah.
That's wild. But
I had a full head of hair.
I do think that this is the kind of game that people on PlayStation are going to be like, wow, this is really good. Have you tried this?
Miss this. Yeah. Because I have friends that I have friends that still have never owned an Xbox. Like there's still people out there that don't get all the consoles or whatever, and they've never played Gears of War. And they are in for a treat. This game, if they remaster it right, I don't even know if they need to remaster it right. The last time they put this on a current gen system, it was still good. Beautiful game. Like you said, the things they introduced in this game, the blind fire, the cover system, the flanking, everything about this game was totally above any other shooter I've ever played. It was so good.
Were they the first ones that did it, or were they just the first ones that did it well?
I know there were other games that did like peeking mechanics where you go up to a wall and kind of poke out. I feel like this was the first one that did it really well.
I know there was a ton after it, but I couldn't remember if they were the time of events sort of a thing.
Yeah. So other games are hinting at it, but Gears of War took it seriously.
It was amazing.
I love that game, man. I am so excited for this.
Mm-hmm. I'm just excited for a remaster. I'm not buying a PlayStation. So for me, it's just, I want to come back to that world. I really want Gears of War 2 redone. I hope that does successful enough. Gears of War 2 is my absolute favorite of that franchise. So I'm excited for more of it, but more of the Cold Train. That's all I need, baby.
Oh, so good. Awesome. Concerned Ape on a podcast says he might eventually make a Stardew Valley 2.
I mean, duh.
This guy, every time he talks, though, I feel like a lesser human. Like, this guy made Stardew Valley 1, made the music, learned how to do pixel art, did everything in this game all by himself. He's making another game. What is it? The Chocolatier or whatever?
Yeah.
He's making that by himself. He's going to make Stardew Valley eventually by himself. This guy is a prodigy of game development.
Well, I mean, he said that like he's open to the idea of eventually making a Stardew Valley 2, but it's just so much easier to add more content to Stardew Valley 1. So we'll see if that actually does happen.
See if that happens.
But there's such a great fan base for like the mods and everything like that. My wife and I started playing Stardew Valley like a year or so ago, and we kind of just life got in the way. We haven't gone back to it, but every now and then we're both like, we need to play Stardew Valley again. It was so much fun, and I love that game. It's such a great, relaxing game.
Mm-hmm. It really hit at the right time to be. Cozy games are starting to get more popular.
Yeah,
like it sort of filled a niche. And it did it really, really well.
Yes.
And that's the thing that's amazing. Because, like, the idea isn't new. It's Harvest Moon.
Yeah.
It just aped Harvest Moon. But it did so at such an excellence, at such a love of what cozy games and farming sims are about, that it's hard not to look back and be like, no, you did a Harvest Moon, but you did a better Harvest Moon than Harvest Moon did.
Right. Well, and it's funny that they say that too, because like again, what Concerned Ape did was not original, and kind of like again, like with Gears of War, the concept of it wasn't original. But when you start looking at everything that came out afterwards, everyone always goes, "Oh, it's a Gears clone, or it's a Stardew Valley clone." They did something so well that now everything else is comparing to it and trying to chase something that it's already done. And some great games have come out after, and not to say like they aren't great just because they're inspired by something else, but it's just funny that whenever you look at any news on something, oh, it's a Stardew Valley clone or it's similar to that.
Right. It's not a Harvest Moon clone. It's a Stardew Valley clone.
Yeah. That's right.
Yep. So I'm excited. I mean, it's sort of a nothing story in the sense of like, I mean, he might at some point, but he's a great example. I was thinking of the whole time with the Rest for Wicked guy. It's like, you don't hear from him much. And when he does, you're like, everything he says, you're like, yeah.
Didn't 1.6 just come out?
It's been a minute.
Am I too much of a nerd for this that I lost everyone on that one?
No, you need this.
Actually, I don't think you have this on your list, but speaking of long-running games, the people that made RoboQuest, a really wonderful co-op boomer shooter, loot shooter, have announced that they're going to retire their work on it. And they've been doing that for 10 years. So it's not uncommon for developers at this point to just say, hey, I'm going to keep making improvements to this game because now there's an ecosystem that supports it. Like No Man's Sky makes money to go back to it, and they've offered every one of their expansions for free. So there's definitely a market and a world in which you can Stardew Valley. You could spend, how long do you do? 7-8 years on just making updates to the same game and still make boatloads of money. Terraria, 10 years, right?
Right.
So good. On to Pocket Pair, they are friends at Power World. They are making forced compromises out of fear of injunction being granted that could block the development and sale of Pal World in the future.
That's wild to me. It's wild. It's not. I don't know. I mean, all right. I'm gonna think from the business standpoint. Nintendo's a huge company. Pal World is very clearly a deeply inspired by Pokemon game. But I also think,
is it a Pokemon?
Yeah, we played that game before, and you guys didn't get it correct. So Pal World is certainly Pal World is very much aping on what Pokemon's legacy is. But I don't want Pokemon to own all the rights to funny critters that battle, and Pal World distinguish itself. So it's sort of in this weird realm where I'm like, I get where Nintendo is pushing, and I get where Pal World's making compromises. Like one of the mechanics is you don't throw your Pal World ball or your Pal sphere. It's a sphere to have your Pal show up. Now it just appears next.
It shows up. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, I get that, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't want Nintendo to just stifle. I want my monkey with guns, and I want him to come out of its sphere, and I want that to be a thing.
Yeah.
Pokemon's not the only thing that's ever done something where it's like I throw something and something comes out of it to fight for me or fight with me. It's not original. It's just, again, going back to the other things, they did it to such a degree that now everyone claims that they did it. It's theirs. It's not. I don't know. For me, I love Nintendo. I really do. But I'm also very cautious on precedents that these kind of things set, especially when it comes to game mechanics, because when it comes to like board games and things like that, you can't, and do correct me if I'm wrong on this. It's been a while since I looked at the law on that one. You can't necessarily copyright a game mechanic.
Correct. That's correct.
But I think that's only on like tabletop and board games, because on video games you can, right?
No, you can't. Sorry, you can't copyright a mechanic of a game, period. Like you can't own the rights to a worker placement. Like you just can't. That's just a mechanic of the game. So that's the same for video games. And that's the same as like you can't copyright a dance move. You can copyright the dance choreography of an entire dance, but you can't do one dance move. You can't copyright a recipe, right? For something. You can't copyright a chord progression. Like there are just certain things that we've all agreed is not itself copyrightable because it prevents any other version of it from existing.
Well, how does that work with like the Mordor game where they copyrighted the what's the word? What's that called?
The Nemesis system.
The Nemesis system.
They copyrighted that. They shouldn't have been able to, is ultimately the answer to that. Like they got a patent that is very disputed, but they patented through the technology for Nemesis as opposed to the mechanic of the Nemesis system.
And I guess for me,
functionally ends up being the same thing.
Right. And I guess for me, that's where I have such a hard time with this whole Nintendo Pal World thing is throwing a ball out and a monster coming out. Isn't that just a mechanic?
Mm-hmm.
And Nintendo is just wiping the floor with them on all these different things. And that's always been my concern is Nintendo is a very, again, and we joked about this, and if I need to, I'll say allegedly, they're a very allegedly litigious company on unnecessary things. And I know a lot of it goes to culture, you can't, in a lot of the like with Funimation, for example, they're a Japanese company as well, where you're not allowed to take something and parody it because that's essentially using their thing, and you can't do that without permission that could easily be taken away, even though that doesn't work when it comes to parody and the internet and fair use and all that stuff. So I'm very concerned over how this whole Pal World thing is going to go out, because it will set a precedent on what other companies are going to be able to do.
Yeah. So I don't know.
That's my take.
I will just say there's nobody that looked at Pal World and went, oh, it's Pokemon with guns. And I get that. There's no world you get away from that. They're very clearly aping on what Pokemon did. I think the big hesitation, and I agree with Frag, is how much should that stop other people from making similar games? And I don't think it should.
Because they're not the first. Pal World's not the first game that was like, I'm going to make something that's parroting or whatever.
Digimon, cassette beats, right? Like plenty of games have been in that sphere of monster collector. Dragon Warrior has a monster collector,
right?
Series, so.
But the first thing that blew up like overnight, they're threatened.
Yeah, I don't know. I look at these kind of things and I'm like, it being a Pokemon, quote unquote, a clone or inspired by, how does that hurt your brand?
No, if nothing, it cements your legacy, right? Like,
right.
It's the Stardew Valley, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're not going after other farmer sims out there.
Pokemon's not the first company that made the idea of having a monster that comes out of a ball either. Anyway, but yeah, that's the thing is like, if I'm playing Pal World and I'm enjoying the game and I love Pokemon, guess what? At some point, I'm like, you know what? The new latest Pokemon game came out. I'm going to fucking play the Pokemon game too.
Yeah.
Because I love them both. They both can exist.
They're not having guns, and you're like, I'm going back to Pal World. This game sucks.
They can both exist.
Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah. Man, why they got to ruin shit? I don't know. Nintendo's got the biggest IP. We've talked about this before, Tyken, where my biggest issue, one of the other issues I have with Nintendo, and again, love it, is just they have the largest IP of games out of everybody, and they do nothing with it. They just make another Mario game. That's my view.
That feels like a jab.
Changed my mind.
Feels like a goddamn jab, and you know it. We're going to court, Frag.
Jab.
Boxing court.
All right. And finally, the largest Smash Brother tournament in the world just wrapped up last week. And Tyken has all the deets on this.
Oh, yes. I pulled this in last minute. We had to talk about it. I know not everybody's a fan. I will just say we had a crazy... So Japan has Golden Week. It's sort of a big holiday week in Japan. There are companies that will just let all their employees take off. But that has become, over the last couple of years, every single day of Golden Week is a major tournament in Japan. And so Japan, over the last couple of years, has become the de facto region for Smash Brothers Ultimate. They have the best players at this point, and they kind of took the title from America over the last couple of years. So there's sort of this narrative going on where Japan's the number one region. America wants to kind of claim it back. You also have people in Mexico that are some of the best players in the world, in Europe. So all that coalesced this last week at Kaguribi 13, which was the first time it had to get recertified. So there are ranks to tournaments. There's majors, super majors, and premieres. This was the first ever super premier Smash Brothers tournament. Out of the top 100 ranked players, 86 of them showed up. 44 out of the top 50 showed up for this tournament, and it capped out at 2,500 participants, which makes it the second largest after Evo 2019, the second largest event ever participated in for Smash Brothers. So you really had all of the top talent here, and it was an absolutely insane weekend. I will say the narrative ended up being that Japan is still the dominant region. Out of the top 8, out of, again, 2,500 people that entered into this, the top 8 ended up being 6 Japanese, 1 American, and 1 European. So it very much ended that way. The top rep, Tweak, who has been a perennial top 10 player since the beginning of Smash Ultimate, coming out of Smash 4. He ended up getting 4th place. 3rd place went to Mia, who has solidified himself as a top 3 best Smash Ultimate players coming out of Japan. He's a Game & Watch player. Grands came down to Akola, widely considered one of the best that's ever played, playing the best character in Steve from Minecraft. If you don't follow, yes, somehow Steve from Minecraft is the best Smash Brothers player. It's uncontested. His tool set is incredible. What he can do is amazing. But he's at the hands of a player who is equally as incredible as that character is. And it just came down to him versus sort of a young upstart, Raru, who has been piloting Luigi, who a year ago was kind of seen as this like good but not great character. Him and a few other particular players out of Japan have shown that this character is a threat and end up being this amazing grand. So Akola ends up winning, which, you know, is sort of, it's unsurprising that he won just because it's his region and he's the best player in it. But it was incredible to watch that.
So you're saying some people are viewing Luigi as a threat?
Luigi? Oh. Are we demonetized? The character.
The character. What are you talking about?
Yeah. He just really, he denied Akola. He deposed Akola.
He's a good looking man, though.
That's true.
I mean, that mustache, man.
Yeah. I think Luigi's innocent of all wrong.
It's great and green.
The character. So
Mario's missing though.
The big deal I think about Kaguribi 13 was not only was it the largest Smash Brothers tournament as far as it wasn't the most stacked, that was Civil War in 2018. It wasn't the most attendees, that was EVO 2019. It was second to both of those, but that's what puts it over the line.
Okay.
And what the big thing I have been feeling out of it is this felt like the swan song to Smash Brothers Ultimate. Like, we are getting the Switch 2. I think most of the community feels like Smash 6 has got to be on the horizon. Like, we're expecting it to show up next year. It also feels like this shift away. This is a game that's been going on for, I believe, 7 years now. And we are sort of at the point that everyone's explored characters. Everyone's optimizing everybody to the highest degree. There's still more to explore in this game. There's still more that can get teased out the same way that Melee has been over the past like 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
But it really felt like a capstone. It felt like, hey, this was Smash Ultimate. Like, this was where it's at. And following it came some pretty big announcements. So there's a player named Riddles who has been sort of we call them the FGC characters, Kazuya, Ryu, Ken, Terry. He's been the best player of that. He announced that Kaguribi 13 was going to be his final tournament ever. He ended up getting 13th, which is an incredible placement with a group that stacked. He's completely retiring out, moving on to Street Fighter as his game of choice. Tweak, who I talked about, has said he's going on an indefinite hiatus. He's been, again, a top 10 player for the entire lifespan of Smash Ultimate, which is incredibly hard to do. And he's called it and said, hey, I need a break. It's been a while. I fully expect we're going to see other players. The previous number one, Spargo, who got number one last year, has come out and said, like, my passion was be number one. I got number one. My passion's not there anymore. And you could see his results. He's kind of dropping on 24th and 32nd, which is still, again, he's a talent that kid's amazing. Right. But it really feels like this is the last hurrah. Like, we're going to have other tournaments, but nothing's going to match what Kaguribi brought to it. And it's bittersweet in that sense. But the fact it was Akola and ending it with a Steve match versus Luigi just felt right. So it's incredible. Anyone wants to go back to watch the VODs. I mean, every set from like top 64 onward could be a grand finals at any other major. That's how incredible the gameplay was for Smash Brothers. So
is Smash allowed at Evo anymore, or did that?
It is not. No, okay, after the Evo controversy, Evo kind of kicked Smash, which was crazy because Smash Brothers was the biggest tournament as far as viewership by far. Like, it was almost double what Street Fighter 4 and 5 were pulling in, was going to Smash Brothers. Like, it was such a big deal. Oh, I do have one other surprising tidbit for you guys to know. Japan does not allow tournament prizes to their game tournaments. So all of these players showed up to win nothing. This was 100% just pitting yourself against the best in the entire world.
Wow.
Just to see who could come out on top. So that's huge.
That's okay. I mean, that's still great. That's still amazing. I mean, they have bragging rights alone on that, something like that. Like, it's really, I don't understand Japan.
And there's an argument that there's not a lot of homegrown US players because there's no Game Crazy anymore. Like,
yeah,
we spent 40 hours a week playing Smash Brothers.
That's true.
Like, most times, yeah.
That's the reason.
It's probably because of us that Smash has been this big. We are the Melee resurgence. I trained H-Box personally. I convinced Armada to leave. That was me.
There's no more Guitar Hero. Like, all these things
Man, I miss Guitar
happen
Hero.
because,
Tony
you can't just go to the store and play these.
Board didn't do well when Game Crazy closed. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for letting me nerd out. It was a crazy weekend. It was.
I think it's really cool, honestly.
Yeah,
I think it's great news.
And we will do a coverage on something, obviously not as big as that, but I like covering those. Those are fun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, plenty more to come.
Awesome. Well, on to the next segment. Are you guys good, or need a 5?
I could take a break.
Let's do a 5.
Yeah.
We'll throw the little video on and come back and go on to the next segment. I'll re-enter that.
Sounds good.
Yes, viewers, 5-minute break. We'll see you in a minute. Find it.
I know there was a timer, but I somehow still wasn't ready.
That was so intense. Nice.
Frag
is we'll bring him back when he pops back in.
All right, good. He's good to me.
Good times, good times. Chat, how you doing?
What?
We got 4. We got 4 on today.
Nice. Let's get Frag back in here. Where'd he go?
JC's doing all right.
I'm back. Ooh. What's now you doing, Don? How you feeling?
I feel good. This is fun. Yeah.
We got to talk a little politics. We got to complain about game development.
Oh, doing good, JC.
Nintendo.
Yeah. Pokemon. Yeah.
The Pokemans. We didn't talk about tariffs this time.
Oh, I'm sure we got more time. Talking about trends.
Oh. I've got a list. I'm ready. I've got a list in case you guys steal
I don't know if you saw my list, but I have a list.
I did not look at your list. I want to be surprised. I want this to be exciting. All right. While we wait for Frag, I just want to say Blueprints is so good.
Oh, God.
Oh, it has that one more mechanic, right? Like I got to the end, I finished a day, and then it loads up the next day, and I was like, I could stay on a little longer. I'd give it one more run.
Do another day. I think it also, like, you kind of run through it and you're like, oh, this works with this. Maybe I'll just get that on the next run, you know? And yeah, so it's got that whole thing going for it too.
Yeah. It also does a great job of signposting. Like, I'll keep it somewhat vague for the audience, but there's a part where you can control water. And I like drained an area and I was like, I bet I could drain that area and there's something there. And there was a locked door for a key I've never seen before. And I was like, I'm going to remember this. I'm going to remember that you told me that I need a particular key. So it does that throughout. It like leaves little hints where it's like a safe will show up and I'll look around the room and I'm like, okay, I don't know how to open this, but I think something's going to hint me there and I'll just explore some more.
Did you do stuff outside?
Yes, I've unlocked 2 permanent upgrades.
Okay.
Yeah, or 3. I've unlocked 3. I lied to you. 3.
Nice.
Yeah.
I hope to play that a little bit more this week.
Did you finish Inscription? Have you gotten time?
No, I had 0 time for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's another 10 hours I probably got to spend on
that. Oh, the last part, I promise you will go. It'll take 10 hours, but it'll feel like an hour. Like it goes in crazy in just the right way.
Here he is. He's coming back.
Yeah. There was the part you got to in the second part of that game, to keep it vague. I started with a particular deck that apparently is awful. So I was just getting crushed. And I actually needed to restart the entire game to get a much better deck, a starter deck. And then I modified it, and then I just breezed through the entire.
Okay.
So,
what are you talking
about? Inscription. Did you get a chance to play that one?
Oh God.
It's wonderful.
So we can't talk about Inscription. Like that's the number 1 rule about Inscription. But
rule number 2 is if it's your first time here, you have to inscript.
Put that on your list. Yeah.
Wonderful.
It's a card builder.
I mean, kind of. It sounded like it. What little I heard.
Yeah. Kind of.
It's like Slay the Spire. Kind of.
Kind of.
It's like Monster Train. Sort of.
Yes. Awesome. Well, we are back and we're talking video game trends. The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, we're talking about modern trends, right? Like things that are happening now.
Yeah.
That we like, we hate, we really hate.
Yeah. Yes, all of it.
Absolutely. What are we starting? Are we starting bad? Are we starting good?
We could just like go around the room and throw something out and just keep going until We feel good about it.
I've got a good one. Normally, I start off with negative, and that's just my personality. But I've got a good one I really like that with trends.
You were off camera too long. Pull up. I want to see if that's a mask. Is there someone else there?
Oh God, I'm bleeding. Single player games, single player narrative games. Yeah,
that's on my list.
Because I mean, so many companies like I think it was like EA, but like years ago they said like there's no money in single player games. Nobody wants to play single player games anymore. Baldur's Gate 3. I haven't played it yet, but the what's it called? The new one that just came out. Yes, Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Like I hear nothing but great things about that.
Elden Ring, God of War, Spider-Man, Ghost of Tsushima.
Exactly. Yeah. So the new Star Wars games, like yeah, those are great games. So it's great. I'm happy to see a single player experience coming back and being good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's my trend. I'm looking forward to seeing more of.
It took a little bit of time, but there was a lot of companies just kept trying to chase the live service dragon. Like there were so many that came out and they were like, we're going to be the next Overwatch, or we're going to be the next Fortnite, we're going to be the next Destiny. And they just kept spending millions of dollars and failing. And I think they finally realized that the market for those games is so saturated, and these games are going to stick around. Fortnite is going to be here another decade, 2 decades. We're going to be old men talking about the latest Fortnite crossover with Pride and Prejudice, right? Like
swimsuit edition.
Yeah. And so it's very, very difficult. It's very, very difficult for these developers to put the time and resources when you can make an incredible single player game, which I think I credit From Software for this revolution. Like they really showed that there is a market, there's a desire, and people don't want to play competitive games all the time. So why compete with these behemoths if you don't have to?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm glad to see it's going to stick around. It's still going strong. It needs to. There needs to be a good single player experience.
Yes.
And like you said, everyone's fatigued by the live services and all that stuff. It's just, but yeah, that's mine. I'm glad to see more and more coming out. There's another one I just heard about. It's set in like Louisiana.
South of Midnight. Yeah.
Yes, that looks so good.
Yeah. Yes. Looks amazing. Yep. Yeah. So I will say, just to add on to this, I have dumped tens of years into like World of Warcraft and stuff, and I got away from the single player narrative experience. And part of starting this podcast up is for me to get back into this kind of stuff. But also, like, when you're playing alone, it's a little hard for me to detach from a community. So it's to go away from, playing just live service games and play something that's a really good quality game and then talk about it with my friends or whatever. So that's really what this podcast I wanted to do with it, is to play great games, talk about great games, and share that with you guys and anybody, our 2 viewers or whatever. But that's really what this is about. So it's a trend I like. It's a trend that I'm seeing right now as well, and very excited about it.
Agreed.
Cool. God, World of Warcraft. Last time I played World of Warcraft, Baron's chat was still a thing.
It's always
still a thing.
It's always a thing. Okay, yeah.
I'll give a good trend, and this one I don't think everyone will necessarily agree with, but I think if you take a little time, you'll catch on. What I'm saying is, I think there's been a real death of long tutorial, long intro games. Like, there has been a real big focus on getting players into the action very early. I was thinking this when I played Avowed, which has a tutorial island, but it's throwing you directly into the story immediately. It's throwing you into the action. It's not these JRPGs that are spending 10 hours teaching you mechanics. They're making playing the game how you learn the game. And I want to go again and just say, I think From Software is a big piece of the puzzle of this, where they just say, hey, here's the mechanics, here's the world. You're going to build your character, and then you're going to go out and do whatever you're going to do. And they're building these sort of experiences that are using much more clever ways to signpost the player. And they're letting mechanics be a little more vague for people to explore or just go online and look at. And I think that's been amazing. The other thing is sort of this rise of games like roguelite adventures, like Blueprints we were talking about, are totally cool with you just going in and trying stuff and failing and then restarting. And that's the core mechanic to roguelites. So someone as me, who one has played a lot of video games, I don't need you to tell me how to press the A button to jump or X to reload. You don't need to spend time on that. I got it.
Right.
But on the other hand, I also have less time in my life to be able to dedicate. Like, I get to sit down and play a game for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours at max. So I don't want to spend an hour, 2 hours learning how to do your basic mechanics and deep lore to your world that I have not even explored, but you're going to spend 10 hours telling me everything about it. So I've seen that trend. I hope it continues. I want faster games. Get me to the good shit immediately. Hook me. It's the first 5 hours. I have a billion games to play, for the love of God.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah. Split Fiction's a good one too, where it's like Split Fiction, you play it and you're learning the game as you go on. And I think they do a great job of it. They just get you into the action and you're learning as you go. And it tells a good story while you're doing it.
I really want to play Split Fiction with my wife. I think it's going to end in divorce, but I really want to play that game.
You'll have a good time.
It won't end in divorce as much as the last one.
Or
so.
your 10-year-old
was definitely an interesting adventure.
No, that's fair. Yeah, good story. We could talk about that on a separate one.
Good stories.
All right, Don, give me a good one. What's a good trend you like? We're going all positive here.
I've mentioned it before. I'm gonna put on the top of my list, I love the shadow drop thing. Like, if we can just go out, take away the hype train, like, we're going to get rid of the hype train and just plant C4 on my computer and blow it up. And here it is. It's ready for you. Yeah, Oblivion did it. I forget, what was the Xbox game they did a while ago? I don't know. There's so many, like, once a year or twice a year, there's a game that comes out and it shadow drops. And I feel like all the energy that you would get in a hype is just there. And it does very well. And I like it. And it's like, oh, here's a surprise. We came out with a game today.
Yeah. I am so torn on Oblivion Remastered.
Oh.
Because the reason I'm so torn on it is, and I wish I could remember the small team behind it, but there was Bethesda attracts huge modders, right?
Sure.
And I'll be honest, I kind of, this is another conversation about, I think honestly Bethesda relies on their modding community too much to fix their games, but that's a whole other conversation. But there's a modding team that has been remastering Oblivion.
Oh yes,
and had had permissions to do all these things, nearly done, and then boom, remastered just near the end. And they were in communication with Bethesda, so Bethesda knew they were doing this. And obviously, like, they can't say anything. Obviously, there are NDAs and things like that. But at the same time, it's like I feel like it's very underhanded, and also, like, which came first? Did the modding team start doing this before Oblivion remastering was in effect, or was it like, well, they saw all the press that they were getting and were like, because Todd Howard said multiple times he's not interested in doing remakes, and all of a sudden now they're doing a remake, which also is ironic because how many times has
Skyrim came out?
Whatever. So I'm torn because I love the fact that it's now out, because I've been thinking about going back and playing Oblivion, and now this is there. But at the same time, I'm like, man, it feels shady.
Skyblivion was not going to be for sale. Like, they're not making 100%, money off of that.
Yeah.
So they've been pretty vocal about, hey, we think our game can exist alongside Oblivion Remaster. And I 100%. Do think Yeah, and I do think like it's going to be a different experience. It's Oblivion in the Skyrim engine, whereas this remake is Oblivion in Unreal Engine 5. And like because it's in Unreal, it's not going to have the mod support that the creation engine has had. So I actually think that longevity might lend itself towards Skyblivion being the de facto game. And you know, I'm someone who I've been following Skyblivion's over almost a decade now since they've been working on it. I watch it every time they release one of their developer diaries and talk about where they're at.
It's really interesting.
Still excited for fall to come out, even though I've been excited about Oblivion Remaster. In my mind, these are two things that can exist at the same time.
That's fair. Yeah. That's very fair. That's very fair.
And to their end, they're like, look, Oblivion or Bethesda owns the rights.
They can do.
It's not on us to say, hey, how dare you? And, you know, Bethesda reached out and gave them all free copies. Everyone that worked on Skyblivion got a free copy of Oblivion Remaster. So, I don't know.
Yeah,
I get your point. I also was like, it's a little close. But on the other, no.
And again, they don't own the rights to it, you know,
right,
and that's really what it comes down to. So I just, man, the creation engine, that's a whole podcast by itself, man. I will, there's certain hills that I will die on, but man.
Yeah. I do want to, it's not my turn, but I will just say, I want to add on big surprise on top of Shadow Drop, because I feel like, especially this last month with Blueprints, Obscureth, and Oblivion Remaster has been like hits I did not see coming.
Yes.
Right. I'm fairly decent in the community. We did see a trailer for Obscura and we all kind of collectively went like, but like, I'm loving this. Like, hit us out of nowhere. Throw a fucking banger.
I agree.
Down. Yeah. Helldivers 2 and Power World last year were the same way, where it's like, oh, Helldivers is coming out. Yeah, the first game was good. And then you play the second, you're like, holy shit. Like, and so I'm loving this. They're building the hype all at once, as you point out, Don. They're not stretching it over months to the point I no longer care. They're like, look at this badass trailer. Listen to your friends telling you how amazing this is, and you can buy it right now. Like, that's genius.
Well, I think the other great thing about that genius plan too is they release a bombshell of a game, and they know the social media and the streaming and the YouTubers and all that stuff. They're all going to jump on it. We're all just going to do. It's going to do all the marketing for them. And get everybody 100%. Pumped. It's it's a business wise, it's a great savings, but two, it's a great that you could just play it now.
Yeah. I sat there. We called Oblivion Remaster was going to be a Shadow Drop, and I still was shocked when it happened. You know,
right? Because
this is the kind of thing that you walk in and you're like, and it's coming in November, and they were like, no, it's there now. You want to play it right now? It's there. Go play it. And I'm like, I just watched you sell me this game for 30. Yes, I want to play it. You know.
Yes.
So, I love that.
Yeah.
So, maybe not a
great trend.
Not a popular trend, but one I wish happened a little more.
I think it's a new marketing strategy. I think if they believe enough in a game, they know it has a good feel for Twitch. They know it can show clips. You're absolutely best at just dropping it. Repo's another one that no one saw coming and is amazing. So
100%.
Your turn, Frag, for bad.
Let's go for bad.
We're switching.
AI in development. I think AI has a purpose. Okay. I use AI all the time for my work. I'm not going to go into detail, but it's a tool to use to make certain things easier, but it's not to do the work for me. And so many companies, not just in the gaming industry, do this. They have this idea in their heads that AI will just completely reduce the amount of people who are going to be putting their heart and soul in it, who are going to be putting in the work, who have the care to do the work and to do everything that needs to be done. And so many companies like Square Enix, Ubisoft, they're going through and they're just laying off tons of people, and they're just replacing it with AI work. Was it Ubisoft is what Ghostwriter is just going to be doing NPC dialogue, conversations, and then you have, what is it? I think it's Square Enix is doing just straight voice to text stuff. And it's like, that's just so shitty, especially when you also look into like voice actors do tons of work, amazing work. And there's also this push to start having rights of voice actors being taken away and replaced by an AI using their voice. I've got big problems with that.
For sure.
You want AI to help you write a code to get the game to do what you need to do. Hey, I get that. That's totally fine. But to make the game in its entirety, which some people are doing, I got problems with that.
Yeah, and there's, I think, a big difference between, something like Minecraft and Valheim, where they use procedural generation and then like using AI to build your stuff. And
right,
the generation is smart. Like you're building it in an algorithm to do certain things and put certain things, like the roguelikes. This is where it all came from. That was all procedural generation. Every room you went into was different, but it was all based on a formula. And I think that's smart stuff. But yeah, relying on AI too much, I think it is a super bad trend. Not a fan.
I think there's a place for it. I'm not going to say I think there's a place for it. There's a game called, I'm going to butcher it. I think it's Demonology, but I could be wrong. Demonologist. I've been watching a streamer and YouTuber out there playing with his friends. They're older videos, but it's basically like it's like not paranormal. What the hell is that game called? Phasmophobia.
Oh,
it's kind of like a Phasmophobia, but you actually have to exorcise the ghost, and you have to get all these clues, right? But it's procedurally generated, and as you're going through, you have to read journals that give you clues on how you need to exorcise the ghost, right? But because it's procedural generated, some of the stories don't line up very well. It doesn't make sense. So, like I said, is there a place for it? Maybe. I don't know if that's right place for it, because procedural generated just doesn't feel quite right. But when you especially if you're a AAA company, I have problems with them using AI as a method of reducing headcount and taking good work out of people who again, like we talked about, put their heart and soul in this stuff.
I'm just gonna, I don't know if I'm going to be the counterpoint here, maybe just the realistic in the scenario.
You can't be an echo chamber. You got, come at me, bro.
This is where things are going. Like the reality is that AI is going to keep taking jobs, and it's going to continue to improve to the point that you will not know. Like I think the big rub for a lot of people is they can point out bad AI. I think the thing a lot of people don't see is good AI. And so the thing they're focusing on is like, look, the large language model is not doing great here. The artwork is rushed here, or, the voice acting quality, it feels robotic. Yeah, that's the bad stuff. But the reality is that voice acting as a career is on a timer. Like that's gone.
Yeah. No, I know.
Book narration is gone. Art asset displays are going to continue shifting away. I don't think we're going to get away from an artist being in control, but I do think we're going to get away from a team of artists being in control. And so it is, on the one hand, it's one of those threads. It's like, yeah, there's some bad stuff here, and it has real world consequences to people that care a lot. But on the other hand, I also think there's nothing to do about it. This is where things are going, and ideally we use it for good, but the reality is that a lot of people are going to use it to just put out schlock.
It's hard to have, at least in my shoes, it's hard to have a conversation regarding AI and not also talk about politics to a certain extent. And I don't want to shift into that direction. That's not what the intention of the show is all about. My concern, I know a lot of people, is you have an AI which will do amazing things, especially the biggest concern being that, like you said, being that like AI's, when it becomes really good and you can't tell, and then you start accepting it because, like, wow, it's so good. And that's that slippery slope. which is one of the concerns I have, is the fact that like it's going to get to a point where even I'm going to be like, but it was really good.
Yeah, 100%.
But AI is also going to be in control by people who are the biggest assholes, and that's the biggest problem. Do I accept that AI is here to stay and is going to be growing? Absolutely. How could you not? Look at it. It's going to. Absolutely. It's just how it's being done. I got problems. And obviously, there's nothing I can do about it, but it's just, I got problems.
Yeah, it's such a powerful tool. It's impossible to ignore its good and bad effects that it's going to have.
Yeah.
Which is... the bad effects are bad. So yeah, for sure.
So I mean, again, I know that's not the conversation. I just anyway, what's the next trend?
Ooh, let's go back into politics. All right, here's my next bad trend, and I don't care what side you are on. I am just exhausted at gamers and the culture war on whether a game's woke enough or not woke enough. Does it have gender identity? Does it not? Does it have enough transgender? Does it have none? I am so sick of like, I don't come into this experience fighting a culture war. I come into this experience because I'm interested in great stories and great characters, and that can be in all assets of life. I've always been appreciative of, you tell me a good story that has a lesbian character, great. That's a great story. That's what I care about. I'm not going to hate a game because it has it. On the flip side, I'm not going to hate a game that has a white character as a main protagonist if it's a great story. It's the same scenario. And I know we're not supposed to read comments, but I just get so disappointed when I go to like Steam discussions and I want to understand what the community feels about a game, and it's just full of, oh, this game's woke or this game's this, and it's just, I don't give a shit about that. Tell me how the game is. Tell me how the story is. Tell me how the mechanics are. And we're just at that point in society today that everything has to be through that lens, and I don't care, and I want it to stop. Let the AI take over is all I'm saying. Guys.
Yeah, right. Our overlords. For me, like, I play a lot of, I love Warhammer, can't really stand the company, but I love the lore of Warhammer. I love the stories that come from it, the art from it, whether it's the old art, the new art, I don't care. It's all great. Love it. But God damn, there's so much toxicity. If you even hint that a Space Marine has some feminine feature, Jesus Christ. But that's not what the lore says. The lore can change at every goddamn second, man. Who cares? You don't own the lore. Okay? Like, Primaris couldn't happen. Primaris Space Marines could not happen because the lore forbid it. Guess what? That didn't matter. It changed.
Right. Yeah.
And representation is so important.
Yeah. I want there to be good stories exploring all facets, and I don't want some like fake culture to be the determination of what's allowed to be told and not told. Now, if you do it wrong, criticize them. Absolutely.
100%. Yes.
Absolutely. But like, if someone's telling a good story and your only beef is the color of the character, or the female's not attractive enough, or, the disabled person is disabled, it's like, fucking get a life.
I can't tell she's female. She's in armor. Okay.
But also, like, the flip side of all this.
Oh, I mean both, to be clear.
If you don't like it, just don't play it. Like, this is all your choice, right? Like, is the game good?
Bingo. 100%. Don't like it, don't play it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I 100% agree, Don.
There's games where I'm like, I don't want to get into that story. I just don't play it. I'm not going to write a shit review for it. Like, I'm just going to stay away from it. And, there's other games I like that other people don't like, and who gives a shit?
But that's a great thing, though, too, because, like, do you remember The Walking Dead by Telltale? It's one of my favorite games, honestly. It is so emotional. It's I still haven't had the emotional ability to play the second ones, and I'm sure they're not as good, but god dang, like, that game hit me hard.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of the other part about it is it made everyone so human. Telltale did a great job at storytelling. You can talk about false choices, all that, whatever you want, same engine issues, whatever. The story and the characters were always so god dang good. And they acknowledged the differences of people. I remember, and again, in the Walking Dead guy, the Walking Dead one, I cannot remember the character's name, but you play as a black guy, and I remember you're sneaking in the area, and there's that white hick guy, and he's like, well, why can't you go and like lockpick it or something like that? He's like, why would you think I could do that? Because you're urban. Oh, we are not having this conversation right now.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, acknowledge it, of course. It's human nature, but they did it so humanely and so well and humorously. That's what I want.
Yes. I like to go back to Ghostbusters when they had the all-female cast, and like there was a lot of people criticizing, but it shielded the criticism of the movie, and they're like, oh, everyone hates it because it's women. I was like, I think an all-female Ghostbusters could totally work. I think this was a poor representation of that. And it's this laziness to criticism where it could just either be shielded because it's a particular way or hated because it's a particular way. It's like, stop that. Stop being lazy.
Again, Marvel movies are very much in a
Marvel,
decline,
Star Wars.
Yeah.
But like the Marvels movie, I don't know if you saw that one at all. Again, no,
I hadn't.
Okay, it's
gave up on
Captain Marvel, and Anyway, again, all female cast, things like that. The movie, in my opinion, it sucked. It had nothing to do with the actors. It had nothing to do with the fact that they were all female. It was lazy writing. It was a bad movie. And my issue is kind of like with the Ghostbusters movie is they go, we're not going to fund the movie as if we care about it, because we don't. We're just going to sell an all-female cast as the marketing, and that's the hook. That's the gimmick. There you go. And it's like, but you could have made a great movie. Or Yeah.
I don't know.
It sets everything back, exhausting, in my opinion. But yeah, anyway.
All right, Don, what's your bad one?
Oh, Lordy. Let's say, you know what? I don't like battle passes and paying for content and all that kind of stuff. Like, I think it ruins games. It just 100%. I hate it. And I don't know if you guys have a thing about it, but it's like, used to come out with games and it was just, that's what you had or whatever. Like, it was on a cartridge or a PS2 disc or whatever. And the game was the game. And you didn't have, like, the internet wasn't involved. Right. And the internet kind of tainted everything. And it's like, hey, but we can get another $10 off this guy for a M16 skin or whatever. And I just hate it. Yeah. And my kid's a black hole for this kind of stuff. Like, oh, I need a new Fortnite character or whatever. And I don't like it. Some people like it. I hate that in a game.
No, I'm right there with you. I think for me, cosmetics should really be like the most like that I think is an acceptable thing.
I think most of them do that too, to be fair.
Yeah, but for example, like Red Dead Redemption 2, amazing game. The online
was shit.
Shit. Yes, but that's where a lot of the monetization stuff came from their live services. But the game itself as a whole was done. It was complete. There was no season pass to go with the single player, game. Do I want more of it? Yeah, because it was so good, but they ended on a high note, and that's how you should have it. That's what you want. You want them having to come back to more. But that's what it was. It was so complete. It was so good. But you're right. There's so many games where, like Mass Effect 3, when that came out, not a great game in certain aspects, but it was still a good game. But I remember when it came out, it was a season pass, and you could get the alien guy that would go with it. I can't remember his name. Doesn't really matter. Whatever. He was the ancient alien thing, right?
Yeah.
The game, in my sense, if you didn't have that character in the game, so much of it would not make sense.
Mm-hmm.
It was a requirement in my mind to have that character to complete some of the story, but it was pulled back so that you anyway. Yeah, it just I agree with you. I do think it's fine to a certain extent. I don't know. I'm torn.
I think the big deal for me about Battle Pass, I don't mind that there's grinds for cosmetics. I think that's a way to give longevity. Destiny is a really good example of that, has this sort of, hey, play, unlock these things and get cool things, even as drops. It doesn't necessarily bother me. What bothers me about Battle Pass is the FOMO and the limited time for them. They want you to buy their Battle Pass, play it for 4 to 6 weeks, maybe a few months at best, and then move on to the next one. If you're not constantly grinding, then you're never going to get access to that late gear or late cool look that they always put at the end.
Yeah.
And so there's this scummy incentive for me to just keep playing your game to unlock something. Like if it was just, I grind my way enough crystals and I can get one of the cool items, totally fine with me.
Well, that's very much
what I hate about it.
Aggressive monetization of things, like that Marvel game that came out.
Marvel Rivals. Yeah.
No. The one before that.
Midnight Suns?
The Avengers one.
The Avengers.
Square Enix,
Jesus. Yeah, it was terrible. Like, in order to grind for everything that you would get, you would have to put thousands of hours into this single game. That wasn't even that good.
Agreed.
Because everything's centered around the monetization of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mind expansions. I don't mind DLC if the game itself can hold its own. And these Avengers are just added bonus.
Cash grab. Like it was very clearly like it ruined its entire, and Suicide Squad, same thing. Ruined its entire game to try and justify something that didn't need to be justified.
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted Avengers to be good too. It just wasn't.
I would love a good Iron Man game.
Yeah.
Cool. So we passed the good ones. Did we all do a bad one?
We did.
Okay.
I didn't put it. I'll just quick file size.
Yeah.
I'm tired of file size. They're getting ridiculous. 100 gigs is now the average for a AAA game. This is getting out of hand. All right. Good Lord. One good one, I will say, Xbox Game Pass has proven to be an incredible value. They're knocking out the park right now. I think that's a trend. I would love to see other developers move this way, help publish games, and let me have access to things for $10, $15, please.
I got
speedrun frag.
PlayStation, PlayStation Plus, where I could actually play some of the old games. I realized I don't have time to play some of the old games, but I wish there was a way to play like libraries of older stuff.
Yeah. Nintendo's been pretty decent about that, right? Like I could play Super Nintendo at 64 games, and that's nice that they have those libraries for access for fairly cheap, $25 a year.
Yeah. Do I have a good one? Do I have another good one? Oh boy.
If not, we're lightning round.
So cross-platform. I think that's on the rise.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I think cross-platform for play is really good because it's awesome that when a friend of mine is playing something on the PC or vice versa on a console, it'd still be able to play like Baldur's Gate 3 or something like that. I think that's really great. A negative, I think we've already kind of like done a lot of the negative of like the only one I had is just the massive monetization of everything and everything increasing prices. The idea of a price point was because it had to go into retail stores, but that's not true anymore. So there's no reason for the game to be $70, $80, $90.
When I can buy amazing games for $10 right now on Steam,
right? So. And indie market is kicking a lot of AAA's asses on games. Yep. That's a whole other conversation. So
true.
Why would I spend $80 on an iffy AAA game when this $30 or $20 or less, sometimes even, indie game is something I will play for years, maybe.
Awesome. My last two things. So evolving games and community support. So No Man's Sky, Cyberpunk, all that kind of stuff. Love to see it. So yeah. And then the bad is announcements that take too long to develop. So without seeing updates or anything, and I know like GTA's
Scrolls 6
taking a while, and GTA or Elder Scrolls is taking a while, but also Wolverine was announced for the PS5. Haven't seen shit about it.
Forgot that was.
Oh my god!
Yeah, KOTOR remaster. Also haven't seen shit about that other than a logo. So that kind of thing, I'm seeing that trend. I don't like it.
Agreed.
Yep.
Man,
Shadow drop it.
Shadow drop that. God, all right. And the very last thing tonight, we will talk a very short amount about our experience playing on Friday. What was it? Dale and Dawson's?
Dale and Dawson's Stationary Supplies. The most exciting of titles.
Yes. So quickly, what the goal is one player becomes the manager and tries to manage and fire the slackers basically and manage the other employees to be productive. So it's very much like Among Us. You call meetings into the central room, and if you suspect people of slacking, you fire them, and they were either a good worker, specialist, right? Or they were a slacker.
Yep.
And if you get rid of all your specialists, you lose the game. And if the goal is to get rid of all your slackers.
Yeah.
So quickly, what did you guys think about this?
I think I was a very effective and great manager. Who,
you had a great prepared speech.
Yep, I had a prepared speech, and I went right and just threw it out of the park and won the game in one move.
Yeah.
I really like. It's nice to have a Among Us style social deduction game that moves the needle a little bit more forward in a different direction. Among Us was such a big deal that all the other social deduction games and even previews like Werewolf have sort of fallen that scenario of like someone secretly killing other players. This one was kind of fun in the sense that you got to role play. You were in an office, you had actual tasks, organize the paper, refill the ink, go on your computer, while slackers had things like watch cat videos on YouTube or sit in the bathroom too long. And I really like that as a premise. And I think that's something that I would love to see explored more. I will say, I did not feel like I had control as a manager to figure out really who was doing what. It felt so chaotic because the specialists have slacker jobs to do that they just have to do. And even when I was manager, just walking around, everybody's running everywhere, doing different jobs. It was really hard to get an idea of like who was actually wasting time and who was actually working. There was no clear cut. And I think things like there were 20 jobs on both that you could see. And that was really hard to keep in my mind of like, okay, are they on my computer because they have to upgrade my software? Or are they on my computer giving me a virus? Well, there's 4 other people and each one of them are lining up to get on my computer. I don't really have a good way to know who's doing what.
Yeah, and that happened at least once.
Yeah. So I think there's a nugget of a great idea here. I don't think the execution's there yet, but I would love to know if you guys felt differently. I mean, Frag, you did, I think, have our only successful round, right?
I think so. And to be fair, just to make some transparency and context, I don't remember who originally was the manager, but they got voted out.
Yeah.
And then I was randomly chosen.
Yeah,
was it? Okay.
I was not a good boss.
No. And then I got randomly selected to be the manager. I gave a prepared speech, and
it was wonderful.
I mean, honestly, the clue that I was
family.
What's that?
I said you called us family.
I called us family. I had a whole toxic speech that I gave.
Did you come up with that, or they give you that?
No, I'll be honest. I used some assistance, but I came up with some clues and things like that I wanted. I even had some like one-liners I could use if I was suspecting things. I had a whole thing prepared. I was over prepared, but yeah, like going back to like what you said, like the assistance to determine, like I don't remember what mine was. It was like who pet the cat the most or something like that, and it was because we had an analyst on the team. And it was between 2 of our friends. One person had slightly more pets on the cat than the other person. out of how many? I don't know. And I just have to be like, hey, the person who had the least, get out of here, because I like cats. And we won because that person happened to be the slacker.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead.
I think that game would benefit a lot if the slackers had to commit more to the task they were doing, and like other players had to commit more to not being slackers. I think slowing that part of the gameplay would have done a lot more for that game.
Yeah. I mean, that, and maybe not having the specialists have as many crossover tasks.
Yes.
Because that was my thing, is I was a specialist the entire time until I was a janitor, which then I had a lot of fun. But there's so many times where I'm just like pick up garbage, go do this, none of the tasks and I didn't touch my computer until near the end of the game, and it turned out somebody stole my mouse in the beginning of the game, and I didn't know it.
Yeah,
right.
And maybe not give the slackers tasks.
Yeah,
like you don't get tasks; you just do whatever you want to do. Make it look like you're working. That's something I think Among Us has right.
Yeah,
is when you're the imposter, you have to convince everybody that you're actually a crewmate. And with this game, like you're just doing tasks. And it's like there's not really, when we get in the meetings, we're not discussing somebody is convincing like, hey, I'm really doing the job or whatever. It's like, okay, well, I did these tasks.
Right. Yeah. I was thinking things I would do to improve it is I would have slacker type tasks, but they would be like universal. Like how long you spend in the bathroom increases the slacker meter, or how long you're in the break room eating food or pop. Like I would find activities that they could do at any time. I like that you could set the server off, or you could start a fire. I think those were good. Didn't require jobs to do, that were really well done. I think that would have made the jobs more interesting for everybody, and really put an onus on the manager to be like, oh, I'm gonna go check the bathroom. The other thing I think would be neat to balance that out is give players need to take breaks, or like maybe their energy goes down, or maybe they have to go to the bathroom, so that there is enough interplay where you can hide among the people and still do slacker activities.
Right. I will say, like, I watched one YouTuber who was playing the Dale and Dawsons, and one of the tasks they were a slacker was to drink some coffee. But also one of the tasks as a specialist is to give coffee to the manager.
Right.
So he asked the manager if you want some coffee, and then he went, filled up coffee, drank the coffee for himself, and then filled the coffee, and then went out to the manager. And I was like, that's a great idea.
Yeah, that's a fun mechanic.
I think that'd be great, along with like what you were saying, is like, how many coffees can you drink? Instead of having like you have a task to drink coffee, it's just you're filling up like maybe multiple, or how many times you're in the break room, or how many times you're in the bathroom, or how how often you are. I think that would be a better idea, and maybe putting a cap on, maybe there is, but we never hit it, how many tasks all the specialists have to do.
Yeah. I mean, we played for a good hour and a half, and it felt like at that point the game should have just ended. Like the bar wasn't moving one way or another. It felt like we could have played infinitely.
It was dragging.
Yeah, the boss really just had to fire people with no knowledge of who was doing what.
Yeah.
So again, there's a great idea there. I think I would like to see this explored more. It also, I think, Don, you pointed out, is like doing tasks. You were like, I'm kind of in a comfy element right now. Like I'd just like to play this for a little while.
Yeah.
I was having a great time as a janitor, just putting sticky notes on everybody and just making copies of stuff that was inappropriate and putting it on a wall.
I like locking the door on you when you were in the copy room. And it was like, I wanted that to have a purpose other than just annoying you. Like, what if, because you're locked in there, we get to the meeting room, you're counted as a slacker because you didn't show up to the meeting? Like stuff like that would be really interesting.
And prevent somebody from getting to the meeting.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, I will say that what was super funny to me was you or somebody locked me in the printer room, and I got voted as a slacker because I was constantly in the printer room, like because I was locked in there.
Yeah, and I would love that to be more mechanically in the game. Yeah,
I also didn't want to be in there. But yeah,
hearing you knock on the door, people just walking by.
Yeah.
Yep. So one of the last things I have on this game, the setting, like you play a level that's exactly like Scranton. Lots of offices references sprinkled in here. You got
I love that.
Jim's Jello stapler trick and everything. So love seeing that. It's just a lot of fun. If you like The Office or whatever, check this game out.
The game requires a level of role play, though. I will say that, and I think that is for its benefit. I think if you're not doing a role play for it, I don't think you're playing the game right personally.
Yeah, I think the manager and the assistant manager should be the only two trying to suss. Everyone else should just be trying to do their job and letting the chaos unfold, which I really do like about that. And again,
what did HR
there's
do?
a great game there. HR could protect someone. They could stop someone from being fired.
That's right. One time.
Yep.
Yeah. Zach saved me.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So,
cool.
All right.
All right.
Well, I don't know if we'll play more. I'll wait for an update to kind of see if that brings back up.
Give it a few months.
At the end of it, I was like, I want to go back to Repo.
We're playing some Repo this Friday?
Friday, we might be playing some Repo.
Yeah. I won't be here. I'll be on vacation. But
shit.
Mother trucker.
You can make it happen, Frag.
Yeah, we'll play some Repo.
Repo.
Any other parting shots before we call it a night?
Nah.
I'm going to play Obscura. I'm very excited to start that up now that Avowed's done. So we'll talk about that next time.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you for all our viewers that joined us tonight. I know there's a couple of you right now. But yeah, truly appreciate that. And once again, in the next day or so, this is going to be on Spotify and Apple in a podcast format with some of the 5-minute breaks edited out. So good times. Really appreciate all of you. Really appreciate you, Frag, for joining us for the first time. Hopefully we can have you back.
Yeah, and, I'll do my best. I'll definitely do my best. I enjoy this.
Definitely. And Tyken as well. Thanks for being my dynamic duo here. So
heck yeah.
All right.
I'll be your Billy to your Ted.
That's right. All right, all. Have a great night. Thanks for joining us.
All right.
See ya.
Everyone.